and into the box. On the countdown to the start, race 1, America's Cup 2007, Valencia, Spain. So it's Team New Zealand coming in from starboard or the Kimberley boat. And coming in from the port hand, it is the defender Alinghi. With Ed Baird on the helm, Team New Zealand making sure that Alinghi go into the dial-up. And now Dean Barker on the helm for Team New Zealand brings it up into the dial-up as well. So a good way to breeze. It'll be fascinating, James Spittle, to see how long they hold in this dial-up.
Yeah, you see Team New Zealand there doing a little bit later dial-up than Alinghi. Dean already trying to get into a controlling position to really try and put some pressure on Ed. And this next 30 seconds to a minute will be very interesting to see who can get the upper hand here.
And put pressure on how?
Well, he really, in my mind, I think Dean's going to try and hold Ed out to the port side of the start line, the left-hand side, and really try and stamp some authority and get some control. You know, we've just seen how important it is to try and get a jump off the start line, and conditions are steady like this. If he can be the lead boat around the top mark, it'll be very, very difficult to pass.
That's a very good point, because it is steady. It's even right across the course. Very fair at the moment.
Okay, here we go. First move now. Team New Zealand bailing out on the port tack. Dean Barker making the decision now to get out of the dial-up and sail away on port tack. Let's see how Alinghi responds here.
We hear the voice of Brad Butterworth. Let's go.
Okay, Ed Baird out of trouble now. He's, I think he's going to really breathe a sigh of relief now. He got out of that dial-up. He's not in a too bad spot right now. And I think we're going to see the boats now get into some circling and start approaching that final approach for the start line.
Inside 3 minutes as we come down now to 2 minutes 50.
Okay, Team New Zealand jibing on starboard. Dean looking to do a circle and set up behind Ed. Let's see what Ed does to this. No, double jibe. Team New Zealand double jibe. Now the big question here, PJ, is whether Alinghi can jibe and not be penalised here in time.
Big E's, that's the voice of Brad Butterworth. Big E's, 220.
Okay, both boats holding on port here and look like they're going to go into the final approach here.
Right, well, this is where they lay their bed. It's 2 minutes now. Whatever happens over the next 60 seconds really is going to be a key factor in the start. 2 minutes.
6 degrees, 7 degrees to boat.
Okay, we're hearing a little line bias to the boat end side, so that means that there's a slight advantage with this wind direction, but the boat end is favoured, and I think we're going to see a fight for the right, PJ.
Coming down to 145. It's a fight for the right as Team New Zealand's on the lead. Alinghi's on the push.
Okay, Team New Zealand electing to approach back, and Alinghi, yes, also going to go inside here.
So it's Alinghi here on the left, Team New Zealand on the right. That's Peter van Nieuwhuizen on the bow for Alinghi. Coming down to 120. Alinghi out to the right now, Team New Zealand out to the left.
Yeah, I like this. I think Team New Zealand are called for the right. I think Dean's in a good position to execute that. And for Alinghi, they have to try and start as close as they can. The only risk here is if Team New Zealand are above that committee boat lay line.
So can Alinghi try and hold Team New Zealand out? That's got to be a key inside the final minute to the start of the first race, America's Cup 2007.
Yeah.
Looks safe here to me. I think the Kiwis are going to be fine. They're going to be able to get a start off. Alinghi now just trying to get that separation down to a minimum.
So as we look up the course, it will be Team New Zealand out to the right. It is Alinghi to the left. Alinghi down to leeward and ahead at the moment. Peter van Nieuwhuizen on the bow of Alinghi. Meanwhile, it is Jero Lomas on the bow, signalling back to Dean Barker. 20 seconds to the start.
17, 15, 14, 13.
Winding up now for the swing shot start. 10 seconds.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
The start. start. Race 1, the 32nd America's Cup of Valencia, Spain. It is Team New Zealand in the windward position. It's Alinghi down to Leeuward and ahead. Now we come to the first trial of strength. How long can Team New Zealand live on the hip? Or can they live there?
Speed is good. 10 knots is good.
Well, great job there, I think, by Dean Barker. I'm sure that those guys wanted the right-hand side. Looked close on the lay line, but at the end of the day, executed a nice right-hand start. And as you said, PJ, this will be the real first speed test we've seen between the two boats.
This is it, folks. The first trial of strength on the first leg of the first race of the America's Cup.
Pressure holds, Louis.
You see, the separation looks pretty similar to how they came off the start line, so things look quite even. Team New Zealand look pretty nice, doing a pretty nice job to windward. And hanging in there just fine to me, PJ.
That sounds like James Dagg talking to Grant Loretz. His nickname is Louis. When you hear Louis, they're referring to Grant Loretz, the upwind trimmer. That's on board Team New Zealand.
Little choppy.
I think Team New Zealand are gaining, PJ. I think they're just starting to climb off Alinghi. And you look at that, to me, the separation has maybe increased a little there.
Here's what really is the first crosshair of this America's Cup. And it looks like from here, it looks like Alinghi going to be able to get a lee bow, a tight lee bow on Team New Zealand here.
Little soft. That's right, that's a 2.
They may even be able to cross. It'll be interesting to see what they want to do, though.
20 seconds to go, Ed, all right?
Looks like they're going to tack in front or lee bow and then try and push Team New Zealand out to that right side of the race course.
It's good that we're getting information off the boats. The Defender.
Say first points in this race to Alinghi to be able to control that first meeting.
How much the other? It's 2-1.
Yeah, so exactly what we were talking for before. Brad Bodas is asking that information. How much time is it? 6 and 3 means they always talk when they say 6 and 3. It's 6 minutes. The first number you hear is the direction that you're heading at the time. The second number is the other direction. So he knows it's 2-1 on their way. So that means that they've got a really good chance here he'll be trying to push Team New Zealand out to that lay line as early as possible. Likewise, Team New Zealand will be knowing the same thing, and they'll be trying to keep the time that they spend on port tack, as we see them tacking now, as to the minimum, so they can keep forcing their way back into the middle of the race course and keep this race really tight. This will be interesting for us here to see how the boats are performing in tacking. We've always seen Team New Zealand perform well in tacking duels against other teams.
It's 2.5 and 50. It's 2.5 and 5 though. Let's stand by.
Second meeting on this first leg.
Pick your spot, Ed.
Initial advantage with Alinghi, the defenders of the America's Cup.
Playing that into better pressure. Next one, quick, stronger.
There's so little in it in this first race, and we'll be able to see through virtual eye in a moment the tracking of these two boats as they come out of the tacks, and you get an indication there of just how fast and how smooth they are coming out of the tacks.
Nice. Just wait if you have to. Just wait if you have to.
It's really important. Tacking today is quite difficult because of the amount of waves out there. You can't just, in a flat water day, the tacticians will be like, okay, let's tack here, and the helmsman can basically do it any time. Now you're seeing a lot of waves, and if you tack at the wrong time and cop a bad wave, you can really.
Well, this is where the helmsman comes in. He's got to pick the spot.
Exactly.
They can say, navigator or tactician can say tack now, but It's up to the helmsman to get it smooth.
Exactly. You heard in the last exchange when we were listening to Brad Butterworth, he said, pick your spot, Ed. And that's purely, okay, I want you to tack soon, but make sure you do it at a good time.
Now they'll be coming out to the port lay line. So once Alinghi tacks, Team New Zealand will have to follow the leader out to the top mark.
Exactly. Both boats coming out to the port lay line, tack, and then set up. We can already see Pete Van Nieuwenhausen on the bow, setting up the halyard, and no doubt Jero Lomas and the guys on the Team New Zealand boat will be doing the same. And I think this is encouraging. You know, they've been able to close this distance up, and this will be the next test to see how the boats go downwind.
Team New Zealand out to the right, they are getting very close, and you can see the drenching that Pete Van Nieuwenhausen is getting. That really is a quick potted summary of how bumpy it is out here today.
Yeah, we're there, let's go.
That was from the leftover seaway from the wind direction last night, plus the huge spectator wash that's been created. Here comes the final track. They're on the runway to the top mark first time. Mark 1, race 1, America's Cup 2007. Alinghi out to the left, Team New Zealand now also leading up to the top mark. Mark 1, race 1, 32nd America's Cup. Alinghi, the defender, leads round the mark. The early advantage to Team New Zealand coming away from the start, but Alinghi have got the lead. Team New Zealand coming with the hoist. 13 seconds, that's close enough to attack. Here comes the hoist from Team New Zealand. Excellent hoist from Alinghi. Another good hoist from Team New Zealand. Now, can the red Spinnaker, the big red Jenica, disrupt the airflow coming down under the white one? That's the trick, James. That's what they're going to try and do. Team New Zealand out to the right.
See Team New Zealand jibing now. This is leg 2. What do Alinghi do in response?
There we go. Alinghi not choosing to go with Team New Zealand. Happy to keep extending down on starboard jibe. So this gives Team New Zealand the first small split of the race.
Which can mean nothing, but can mean substantial gains for one or the other.
So the right
this all means.
Down's always slightly favoured, eh?
Is Butterworth just reaffirming his decision to sail straight on.
Yeah, he's talking here about the favour of the gate at the bottom and which one is favoured, and they're saying that the right-hand gate is the favoured gate. And I'm assuming he's talking about the right-hand gate looking from their perspective now, looking downwind.
Here they go.
Nice puff on us
Yes,
here.
they're not going to give Team New Zealand too much leverage.
Let's go. Here we go. Stand by. Jibe it. Let's go in.
At the moment, they're about 400 metres separation, but certainly Alinghi were keen to close that up again. You don't expect any mistakes, do you, with crew work from these two?
No, that was a very nice jibe there. Really, really nice jibe on a wave. They didn't have to. The key to jibing in these boats is with the asymmetric spinnaker is that to get the spinnaker flopped around to the other side and not having to trim it in too far to get it fill again. If you have to trim the spinnaker all the way into the mainsail, it's very, very slow. And that looked like a really nicely timed wave.
That is where they're heading. That is Mark 2, over halfway down the second leg. And we just heard Brad Butterworth, skipper and tactician of Alinghi, say this is a very good mode. Don't change anything.
Yeah, said it very confidently too, PJ. So obviously what he's talking about there is giving the feedback to the trimmers to add on the wheel, the boat speed guys, and really saying, look guys, we're gaining here. Keep doing what you're doing. And certainly first signs, Alinghi is definitely no slower than Team New Zealand. We look at the numbers, 140 metres. They've actually gone out another 70 metres from the top mark, and Obviously, they'd be pretty happy on board right now.
That's just happened recently, though. For the first half of this off-wind leg, there was though they were locked or tied together at 80 metres apart.
Looked quite similar. I mean, looked very, very close like it did for the upwind leg. We saw the two boats split. We saw Team New Zealand jibe away, and certainly Alinghi have come out with a small advantage after that.
So less than 1,000 metres now to the second mark, and halfway through this race one of the 32nd America's Cup, the first to be held in Europe since 1851.
See both bow teams now just setting up, dropping the staysail there. You can see Team New Zealand boat there, Rich Meacham, just putting the staysail away. And right now the trimmers will be giving the feedback to the bow team on what headsail they want for the next beat. Visually, looks like it could be a little lighter up the top of the course, but still plenty of breeze to get through the race. You can see the bow team now, Team New Zealand, dragging that headsail up, and we'll see if we can hear a bit of a call to what jib they've put up the top there.
So that's on the bow now of Team New Zealand. So it's Jero Lomas right at the sharp end. Richard Meacham just back at the mast is Matthew Mason. Really skilled, experienced sailors. But they've got a match on their hands here in this race one.
Yeah, Matthew Mason, one of the original Team New Zealand crew members from the winning team in 95 and 2000. See Jero Lomas going out now to retrieve the string line, they call it. You see him reaching in there. Now this is the line that the teams use to pull the spinnaker into the down into the hatch into the boat, hook it up to a wheel downstairs, and then the grinders take over and grind that sail into the boat.
They make it look so easy, James. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's a circus act, but they just make it as every day it happens. Now we're looking on the bow of Alinghi, and there's work being done there by Peter van Nieuwhuizen, Curtis Blewett, at the mast, Francesca Rapetti. Brad Butterworth, the skipper, out to the left there. Juan Vila, a brilliant navigator from Spain, is aboard Alinghi. Ernesto Bertarelli in the aftergarden on the runner. And a key man, and often understated, with the huge impact he makes, not only on the water but ashore as well, is Murray Jones. And he is the strategist traveller.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So there's a lot of housework going on here at the moment.
See Pete van Nieuwenhuizen tiding the boat up. Looks like Alinghi's approaching the right-hand gate. If you look downwind, or as we see there, the left-hand mark. Looks like they're going to protect the breeze over on the left-hand side. They took the gain out there, and obviously still believe there's a little bit more to have there.
But it was interesting when we overheard Brad Butterworth say he thought that the right-hand side was favoured, just down by this mark. So we'll see as they come down to the gate to round the mark. And this is Alinghi, defender of the America's Cup. Very good drop, quick and slick. There was a lot of speculation that Alinghi's crew work would not be up to the top challenges, but they're going okay so far. Round mark number 2. And the clock is ticking against Emirates Team New Zealand. Another very good drop by Team New Zealand there as they get ready to round the mark. Harden on the wind for the second time. This into leg number 3. 20 seconds now is the advantage. Alinghi leads Team New Zealand.
Yeah, both boats there, very, very tidy drops, and the kind of a crew work you expect at this level make it look very easy. You see the both boats split at the bottom mark there, had the opportunity. Alinghi now tacking over, but here's the next test now, folks, to see if Team New Zealand can get some gain back and really try and come back into this race.
Leg number 3, race 1 of the America's Cup, and Emirates Team New Zealand are still trailing Alinghi, the defenders of the Cup, but it's only a matter of 50 metres the difference, so this is not stretched out to be any one boat race at all. This has been competitive. Emirates Team New Zealand at the end of leg number 2 were about 180 metres adrift, trailed by 20 seconds at the second mark. But they have managed to close it up. Here's a summary of the stats on this leg number 3, Cameron. The average speeds, again, this was the downwind leg, and Switzerland were slightly faster, which will surprise many because of all the pre-race talk.
Yeah, and remembering this is just an average over the entire leg. The interesting part there was the Switzerland were a little faster, but then also sailed slightly more distance. So maybe that means they just sailed a slightly higher, would call a higher mode than Team New Zealand. So they sail a faster, but they sail closer to the wind, which makes them sail a further distance. That might all end up being the two boats are pretty similar. You know, if you can sail faster, higher, lower, slower, you might get to the top, the bottom mark at exactly the same time.
Getting some activity now in leg number 3. Brad Butterworth's comments coming out loud and clear from Alinghi. Their lead is a couple of boat lengths.
So Team New Zealand made a pretty significant gain at the bottom of this second upwind leg. Now I think we'll see more of our standard match racing attacking duel here, with Team New Zealand trying to keep gaining in on Alinghi, and Alinghi will be just trying to keep bouncing them out to the left.
So the grinder's getting a bit of work to do at the moment. This is the second of the upwind legs. This is as close as it's been. Look at that. That's 17 metres now. So Emirates Team New Zealand, they'll be heads up at the moment.
You know, sort of 12s and 14s.
Hutchinson's right on Dean Barker's shoulder there, keeping an eye on Alinghi as well as what's happening ahead of them on the water. Here we go again. This is really closed up.
Yeah, Emirates Team New Zealand doing a fantastic job here to keep this close as possible. Alinghi still are in a pretty controlling position. They'll be happy, but they won't want to see Team New Zealand getting any closer. It's really showing to us that how evenly matched these two teams are.
Leg 1 was a 13-second advantage to Alinghi after Dean Barker had a very good start.
What are the times?
Got to right, windward side of Alinghi. They kept a slight advantage over Alinghi for the first half of that beat, and then Alinghi got a slight bit more pressure to take the advantage and lead at the first mark by 13 seconds. There was no alteration on the downwind leg. New Zealand couldn't make any impression at all. In fact, they dropped 7 seconds. It was 20 seconds to Alinghi. And now, again, they're less than 2 boat lengths the difference.
So a big spectator fleet right around the top mark as they're coming now to the three-quarter stage of race 1 of the 32nd America's Cup. The first to be held in Europe since 1851.
Yeah.
So they've got everything ready on both boats now, and the Alinghi are getting ready for the hoist. Incredible noise as they ease off the sheet. Headbed bringing the bow down. Mark 3. Race 1. Here comes the hoist. There's Simon Daubney, a brilliant, brilliant trimmer. He's won 15 America's Cup races on the trot, a record. Will he and the others who have done that extend that today? 14 seconds. 20 at Mark 2, so Team New Zealand has taken 6 seconds out of Alinghi on that last leg. Excellent hoist by both crews. Brilliant, brilliant. So now they settle into their work. Team New Zealand, what have they got to do to try and disrupt the airflow coming down onto the White Spinnaker?
Well, firstly, fantastic job by the crew, and especially by Terry and the afterguard. We saw there was the 20-second gap at the bottom gate there, and very nice job to close it back up and put themselves back into this race. As we spoke about, the boat upwind obviously gets the wind first, gets to make the decision on when to tack, when to use it, and really try and give some dirty air back to the boat behind. But on the downwind leg, it's the opposite. The boat behind receives the wind first, and they try and really cover the boat ahead to try and feed them the dirty air and take an advantage. So real interesting now to see if we see Team New Zealand go for the early jibe, or if they're going to hold in there on the port tack.
Almost halfway down the final leg, the run to home in race 1 of the America's Cup. And Emirates Team New Zealand looking at the transom of Alinghi. Alinghi still hold the advantage. They've stretched it out well over 100 metres now. There we see where they are on the course. Around that last mark, it was only 14 seconds, so New Zealand had closed up when they were on the left-hand side, got a little bit of pressure there, were able to close up to just 14 seconds. But now 180 metres the margin downwind. And the body language on Alinghi suggests that they feel quite comfortable in this situation, of course, with this lead, but also in this situation downwind in these conditions, which Cameron have got, what, up to 15 knots at stages?
Yeah, the wind's been ranging probably on their masthead somewhere between 12 and 15 knots. And I think, for me, certainly, it's a little bit of a surprise to see how quick Alinghi have been downwind. I know the talk around had been that Team New Zealand thought that they might have a bit of an edge downwind. It's one area where they thought they could attack Alinghi. And both legs so far, we've seen Alinghi stretch away a little bit, and certainly on this leg they've really stretched out they've basically almost doubled their lead down here. And you know, it might not necessarily be a exact boat speed thing. They might have got a little bit better pressure. There's been some small splits. Alinghi gained quite a lot on the little split at the bottom mark on leg 2. But there's a lot of technique involved today with these waves around.
We can see again as we show the leg summaries. This is leg 3, the second upwind leg. Very little in average speed. Average speed difference 9.4 to 9.5, and 70 metres further travel by Emirates Team New Zealand for a round the mark difference of 14 seconds. Once again, it just emphasises, if people are getting a bit despondent about the look of this race, it just emphasises there's very little between these two, in these conditions today at least.
Oh, yeah, you're only talking about a tiny, tiny little gains that you're trying to find. And when you go out in these campaigns and you do years and years of testing, and you line up your two boats, and you're trying to find gains in the, you know, we're talking about 2 or 3 meters per minute in a test. You know, it's something you could never see with your eye. And if you can be guaranteed to gain 2 meters a minute on something new for the boat, you'll take it in a heartbeat. And you know, it's very, very small. And I think these two boats so far, from what we've seen, are pretty evenly matched. I know it seems like on that first upwind, Alinghi just gained by being in the left. They got the advantage of that left shift and got that early advantage. And as we've seen in all the semi-finals and the finals of the Louis Vuitton Cup, you have that small crucial advantage at the first meeting, which was, you know, happened in this race halfway up the beat. You know, it's very difficult to come back. So I think, you know, okay, it looks like Alinghi are going to take this race, but Team New Zealand certainly won't be too discouraged. You know, they know they could have done a slightly better job, but boat speed wise, I think they'll be like, well, okay, we've got the boat to win races here, and it's only one race. Let's move on to tomorrow.
Obviously, you know, Alinghi got this one in the bag right now, and just the spectator fleet is that big that even after the race is finished, you have to have a strategy to try and get back home. And was talking to, you know, Josh Belsky and the guys up forward in the pit there, how they're going to drop the sails and get ready to get on the tow line. But very, very impressive from Alinghi today. Alingi now on the final jibe now. Final approach to the finish line. Certainly no problems with the crew work here.
The speculation, the predictions, the tension, the anxiety. It's all over as we come to the end of race 1 of America's Cup 2007. Alingi win the first race of the 32nd America's Cup. Alingi has held off a tough challenge from Team New Zealand in the opening race of the 32nd America's Cup to be sailed out of Valencia, Spain. But Alingi has beaten Team New Zealand, who at one stage held the lead early on in the first leg. Alingi led by 13 seconds Mark 1, 20 seconds Mark 2, 14 seconds Mark 3, and in the end, Team New Zealand cross at 35 seconds behind Alingi. So Terry Hutchinson and the afterguard of Kevin Hall and Ray Davies discussing how did that get away. They looked so good away from the start. They had bow out. They had an advantage of 50 metres. But this boat, Alingi, it's going to be a tough proposition. Brad Butterworth, skipper and tactician for Alingi, has extended his unbeaten record in America's Cup races. It's now out to 16. He's joined by the other New Zealanders, Murray Jones, Dean Phipps, Warwick Fleury and Simon Daubney. And speaking to someone very close to the Alingi campaign the other day, he could not stress enough the importance and the influence of that Kiwi Type 5. Particularly the collective effort, and clearly that has been a factor in setting Alingi's defence. So it is Alingi 1, Team New Zealand 0. They are going deep into the box, boy oh boy, from here on North Star, as we look out at them, they're deep.
Yeah, so Alingi managed to force a pretty early jibe on Team New Zealand. I wouldn't think there's any problem with that. No, it's a green flag. But certainly position-wise, Alingi's in a strong position right here.
Why?
Because they can pick their time to come back and position against Team New Zealand a little bit more in a threatening position.
All right.
See that they're spending their time. They've got a lot of time on starboard to come back and then position nice and close to Team New Zealand on port.
Right, so we're down to 2:45 now to the start.
Alingi didn't do such a nice job of that manoeuvre there. They've allowed a little bit more separation than what they possibly could have.
2.5 minutes to the start. Race 2, America's Cup 2007.
Still pretty early to the line, and Alingi's leading in. So I would guess that they're working for the left here.
Who Alingi are working for the left?
Yeah.
All right, so we're coming down to 2 minutes 10. So it is Alingi on the lead back. Team New Zealand will out to the right. Coming down to 2 minutes, so they are well back deep in the box, but they won't have to scrub too much time off, Russell.
Well, they're pretty early, I mean, but they've got the length of the line to use up. It looked like the way they entered, even though Alingi was a little late, it looked like the starting line might be a little favoured towards the committee boat because Team New Zealand were able to cross. But obviously very, very important, as I said earlier, to get the correct side of the course in terms of the breeze.
Inside 90 seconds.
Team New Zealand's going to drive them down the line a little bit further here, and may well be a split tack start here. Oh, Team New Zealand's got Alingi in trouble here. Alingi allowed them to get the hook. That was a bad mistake there by Alingi, and Team New Zealand's got them under pressure here.
inside the final minute. Remember, if you see a yellow flag, that is Alinghi. Another white flag goes up, 40 seconds.
That was interesting, though, because Team New Zealand obviously don't want the left. They could have easily just still flagged them and tacked underneath and taken the left in.
So it's green flag, business as usual, as we're coming down to the final stages for the start of race 2. Now to 20 seconds. So it is Team New Zealand who will be out to the right as they're tacking down to leeward of the committee boat. And they're trying to wind up. Meanwhile, Alinghi further down the line are really lining up for a slingshot start here at 5 seconds. The start, race 2, America's Cup 2007, out of Valencia, Spain.
Really nice finish to Team New Zealand there, and they've got a great start here. It's interesting that I think both boats had a different strategy there. I suspect that Alinghi did want the left and made a mistake to let them hook, but Team New Zealand probably wanted the right.
All right, so it is Alinghi down to leeward. It is Team New Zealand out to the right. So they're locked together now, and this, Russell, is where they need intense concentration. There's Dean Barker. You've sailed with him a lot. He was your prodigy. A bomb could go off and he wouldn't know it at the moment. He's so consumed with his concentration.
Yeah, absolutely. This is all about metres gained and lost, and you know, obviously if Team New Zealand can hold them far enough out to the where there might be a favourable wind shift or whatever, then they'll be in a strong position. If they can't, then Alinghi's probably going to have the edge.
What's your impression of the early stages? Because Team New Zealand did have the advantage. They got a beaut start, but it seems that Alinghi is comfortable there at the moment. There's Murray Jones, brilliant, underrated, understated contributor to the Alinghi campaign.
Well, I don't know whether he's underrated. I think everyone in the world, certainly in America's Cup circuits, knows what an influence he has, on this team.
Right, Team New Zealand's tacked away. Your summary of that?
Well, they lost quite a bit there, before they had to tack away, which, I think, the Alinghi boat's going pretty nicely here.
So, in this weight of breeze, 10 knots or a little bit under, in flatter water, where Team New Zealand was expected to have a strong suit, it seems that Alinghi has certainly matched them, at least so far.
Nice pressure holding for you.
Yeah, I mean, I would have, expected Alinghi to be pretty strong in these conditions. There's enough wind out here, for them to be, for their boat to be, in pretty good shape.
So it's Emirates Team New Zealand out to the left, it's Alinghi out to the right, and after the early skirmish and a wonderful start by Dean Barker, now the advantage, the pendulum has gone back to Alinghi as they're coming back to cover. This is straight out of the textbook of match racing.
Team New Zealand must have been pretty confident about the right, whereas it certainly looks to me as though it's turned out that the left has been certainly okay and pretty good, probably.
Actually looks a little lighter to the left of me now.
That's why...
There's Brad Butterworth. It looks a little lighter to the left of me now, and they're crossing over in front.
Yeah, well, they would have, as I said, they would have decided what to do well before Team New Zealand tacked. And...
so therefore, if Brad is just reinforcing that, the decision, quite obviously they're going to the right, and we take it from that, if it looks lighter, that they're happy to move away from the left because they're getting out to the right, a bit more puff, yes?
Yeah, but, yesterday they sailed the race pretty tight, and they were quite happy to spend a bit of their lead just to absolutely guarantee they were going to stay in front. So I think that even if they think the right is starting to look more favoured now, but they probably won't push out there too far. They'll probably, keep the game relatively close.
Yes, there were a lot of comments about Ed Beard. The start yesterday was not quite so good. Dean Barker bested him there, but then comments once they got underway, his absolute concentration. He sailed the boat very, very well on and off the wind. So here we can see as we're getting to the top mark, 9.5, and it's pretty steady still, 9 to 10 knots as they're closing to the top of the course.
So to get a little soft for the next 40.
Yeah, but it just shows how important all the other people are in these programs, you know, like the weather program and getting that, you know, as I said, I thought it was a pretty tricky day with maybe an area of divergence right on the course, and, you know, it's absolutely critical that you get the right information.
Well into leg 1, race 2, America's Cup 2007. Alinghi has an advantage around 70 metres. Coming to mark number 1 in the second race of the 32nd America's Cup. It is Alinghi leading around the top mark into the first off-wind leg. Here comes the hoist from Alinghi. Team New Zealand still coming up to the mark, super set. We shouldn't be surprised. They've got a red-hot crew aboard Alinghi. Now, here comes Team New Zealand round the mark. They click off at 19 seconds.
There you go, Jack. 1, 2, 1, you're there.
Team New Zealand go through the set. Again, excellent sail handling, excellent boat handling from both teams. Team New Zealand quick there.
Yeah, just keep it going. When we find a flat spot, we will be jiving, all right?
So certainly Brad Butterworth is not happy about some of the spectator craft and where they are.
Here we go.
And he was giving the impression if they can hear him, then they'd be wise to move.
That boat off the race course.
Yeah, all right. I think the race officials might be getting the message loud and clear from the competitors. There's clearly a boat clearly in the way. I must say there's a couple of huge cruise liners away out to the left. But anyway, we can see there's quite a deal of separation here, and there's some boat that's doing something, either affecting the airflow, but also the sea state.
Yeah, I know.
Well, Alinghi's had to do two jibes there. Obviously, the first one was by choice, but the second one, I think they, you know, they might not have been planning on that when they did the first jibe. So this has closed the game right down, and it's exactly what Team New Zealand needs.
Oh, they can hear me on this. They know that there's a problem, and it's that big thing there, that Louis Vuitton boat, that blue boat. They're just impacting on the race.
We're in leg 2 at the moment, first downwind leg.
Yeah, no more than what you've had.
There's
No
some
more than what we've
statistics
had
for you that the average speed, this is of course around about the same.
Copy.
Either's travelled much more than the other. The delta at Mark 2, that's what we're waiting for. The delta at Mark 1 was 19 seconds. That is the margin between the two time-wise.
You can see in that graphic that Alinghi generally sail, from those numbers, sail a slightly faster, higher mode than Team New Zealand. Team New Zealand sail a tenth of a knot slower, but also sail a little lower, which lets them sail less distance. So they, you know, there's not much in it. We're only talking about a tenth of a knot, but just a slight difference in the mode between the two boats.
As we're getting to the closing stages here of leg number 2, the first off-wind leg in race number 2 of the 32nd America's Cup, the first to be sailed in Europe since 1851. Right, we'll see how good the sail handling is now under pressure.
You know, and as they're coming in here, they're trying to figure out exactly how to exit these marks, where the breeze is, if the breeze is shifted one way or the other. That's going to determine which side would be preferable to come around the mark and around this gate.
Boy, they're carrying these chutes right up to the pin. Boy, oh boy. But if you've got world-class crews, I expect you would.
What about 20?
so drop it. Here comes the spike from Alinghi. And are they going to the left-hand mark? They're going to separate marks, are they? It's Peter van Nieuwhuizen on the bow. Curtis Blewett behind him for Alinghi. So they are. Alinghi's taking the left-hand mark, looking up the course. Remember, 19 seconds was the distance, the time at the bottom mark. So it clicks off at. It is 13, so it is a gain to Team New Zealand of 6 seconds. And they're at gone to different marks. It's Team New Zealand who is breaking left. They're on port, and they are going out to the right. Meanwhile, it is Alinghi on starboard going out to the left.
The margin is just 40 metres. Alinghi, who've led from practically the start, although Dean Barker gave Team New Zealand an excellent chance. They wanted the right, they got the right. Alinghi clearly wanted the left as well, as we see Alinghi now tacking back towards Team New Zealand. Their margin around 40 metres. And we just bring up those speeds again, the boat speeds, and just keep an eye on them yourself as you see Alinghi and Team New Zealand as they bottom out, their speed slowing right down as they tack. Just compare the two of them and see what you think. This is an interesting stage of this race now, Cameron, because each boat, they're talking about the weather, constantly talking about the weather, and as we look up and see about 25 metres difference, Team New Zealand might just be starting to get the antenna up, thinking maybe there's something out there for them.
Yeah, the last cross when Alinghi actually changed sides of Team New Zealand, it sounded like it was quite a dilemma on the Alinghi boat at what to do at that time, and they opted for probably the safer option of keeping the starboard tack advantage. Generally, if you give the guy the opposite boat, the left-hand side, compared to your right, everything being even, you've got to gain more to get around the starboard tacker.
All right, Russell, you've out on the water. How do you see it at the moment?
I think Team New Zealand's made a nice gain initially in this leg. You know, again, Alinghi, you know, confident to keep position. In other words, keep starboard tack rights and spend a bit of their lead. Looked to me like, you know, and without being on board the boat and seeing all the instrumentation, everything's hard to judge. But looked to me like Team New Zealand could have and should have come back a little bit earlier than they did this time. But they've done a nice job since the mark and closed things down at least now, you know, forcing Alinghi to make some decisions, and you know, their decisions are more difficult with Team New Zealand being this close.
I think you're right, that you make a good point there, that for a lot of the pundits who suggested that one boat was going to be much quicker than the other, and this you know, we don't know what the result will be. It could, you never know. One boat might not win a race, but it's a close contest, isn't it, all the way through that we've seen so far?
Yeah, it's a real close contest here, and you know, I think from my impression is that you know, these races are winnable for Team New Zealand.
Yep.
You know, they're going to have to sail real well because you know, Alinghi is a superb sailing team, and they've got a slight speed edge, but I still believe, you know, having looked at these races, that these races are winnable for Team New Zealand.
Yeah, Team New Zealand have sailed a fantastic leg 3 up to this time. They've made huge inroads back in. Now Alinghi have had to defend the right-hand side here. Team New Zealand, you know, just trying to live off them as much as they can, and they seem to be doing a really nice job.
That's encouraging, isn't it?
Really, really nice. You know, as I think Russell said, these are two very even boats, and these races are able to be won by either team here.
Look at that, NZL 1 metre. We haven't seen the blue line in front since, well, way back about 3 or 4 minutes after the start. So this has been a good leg, an excellent leg for Emirates Team New Zealand.
3 and 8.
We listened to the comments on board, and Brad Butterworth was saying it looks better out the right. They're heading out to the right.
Yeah, and I think Alinghi will be a little disappointed in where they tacked the boat in that last exchange. In hindsight, they should have got up a little closer to Team New Zealand, put a little bit more pressure on them. But Team New Zealand have managed to hang off them nicely here, and maybe there's a little bit of left pressure. And with only, we heard the information coming back, there's only 3 minutes left this way. So Team New Zealand can hang in here for 2 more minutes, and they'll get the chance to be able to tack to leeward of, tight to leeward of Alinghi on the way back to the left up to the top mark and put the pressure on them.
I just said that was coming from the New Zealand boat. I think pressure for us. So there we see what Cameron's been talking about. Just 3 minutes to the starboard lay line.
Strategy-wise from both boats, the Alinghi know when they tack they have starboard advantage, but they have to get, if they had to tack right now, Team New Zealand would easily be able to get a tight lee bow tack on them. So they'll need to advance another boat length, or maybe not a boat length, but another half a length yet to get themselves in a position where they could tack and still be comfortable with Team New Zealand going a long way. 8 minutes to the top mark the other way. A lot can happen. If one boat gets disadvantaged, then you can really see them suffer a little bit.
Is it possible, as we close to mark number 3, race 2, that it could be 1-all
Just pull the flipper up again.
in the 32nd America's Cup? Team New Zealand out to the left, Alinghi out to the right.
Well, I'm telling you, Pete, this is going to be a huge boost for Team New Zealand. Just exactly what's happened up the sleeve and the way they've come back into the race. You know, in terms of the rest of the series and the way they'll sail the rest of the series, I think this is a massive boost for them.
All right, look ahead over the next 30 seconds. What's Team New Zealand doing, and then Alinghi?
Well, Alinghi's, happy to close down to Team New Zealand now. Team New Zealand are going to lead around the mark. It looks like Alinghi's going to be, 15 seconds behind, or 10 or 15 seconds behind, and that should be a lead that Team New Zealand should be able to defend down this last leg.
Dean Barker cool under pressure here. They're getting very close before the final tack to the top mark. Jeremy Lomas on the bow. Behind him, Richard Meacham. Behind him, Matt Mason. Right, here comes the tack from Team New Zealand. Mark 3, race 2. And it is Team New Zealand that's come from behind on leg number 3, the second beat to windward, and the clock is ticking against Alinghi. It's 15 seconds. Wow. Turning a deficit of 13 seconds into a plus of 15 for Team New Zealand. What a comeback.
Yeah, a great comeback. There's no doubt about it, this is a difficult day, breeze-wise. And I think on board Alinghi, there was a bit of discussion between Murray Jones and Brad as to what side they wanted back then when they had the choice, halfway up that leg.
Yeah.
Bit of, I guess, I'm not sure whether I think Murray was quite favouring the left, but probably the left ended up being, obviously it ended up being a lot stronger than what either of them thought.
All right, Russell, look ahead. What's the boat out to the right that Team New Zealand got to do to defend this lead?
Well, I think they're far enough ahead that they can just, pretty much stay with Alinghi. It's going to be hard for Alinghi really hard to pass them. Team New Zealand's going to have to make a mistake to let them back into this game.
But Team New Zealand now, Virtual Eye have got them out to 100 metres in front.
Yeah.
What a thriller this race is. What a stunner this last leg is.
Yeah, and my comment about what I just made before is assuming that Alinghi can make a game when they're 100 metres behind like this, they won't be able to jive on Team New Zealand's ear. So Team New Zealand's in a very, very strong position here, and they've just got to keep doing what they're doing now, and this race is sealed.
This has been a staggering performance from Emirates Team New Zealand. It's not that long ago, Cameron, that we were sitting here, and I know viewers back home would have been saying, oh no, they're not quite good enough, fast enough. But that second upwind leg, it was just all of a sudden it seemed they were into the game, weren't they? And it just shows how little there is between them. And if your weather people on board and onshore are picking it right, then you're going to win these races. It's almost down to that, isn't it? Weather teams and spotters on board.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely fantastic performance here on that second beat by Team New Zealand. Their strategy all along, we saw them do it yesterday, is they're behind, they've just got to keep plugging away, keep the game as close as possible, and if the boat ahead makes a mistake, they're there to pounce. And when Alinghi crossed Team New Zealand ahead early on that second upwind leg and took the right-hand side, that was the mistake that Alinghi made. And you could actually hear the voices coming across there where Alinghi were undecided of what to do, and they decided to take the right. And when they crossed over, it almost seemed like the guys on Team New Zealand, we could hear Adam Bichel and Ray Davies talking back to Terry, and they were almost a little excited. Like, oh, we like where we're going up here. This is good. And they got themselves in a nice position and have made a really nice passing maneuver.
This is a magnificent sight. Alinghi trailing at the moment by 100 metres plus.
How much?
It seems quite staggering that after two legs, Emirates Team New Zealand were trailing, but now they are in front with the finish line in sight. Magnificent effort from Emirates Team New Zealand. Trailing over the first two legs, and then that passing manoeuvre where things turned out really well for Kevin Hall and the rest of the afterguard. The crew's done it well. They took the lead, led at the third mark by 15 seconds, and now Grant Dalton tongue out. He knows that this has been a significant performance from this team.
It's getting close now. James Dagg there out to the left.
Nice going, guys.
Huge hulking Chris Ward. Nice going, guys. They've still got a little distance to go. But Team New Zealand already have got the warm glow of satisfaction that they've pulled this off. And they've taken time out of Alinghi. They're up to 130 metres. So here they go through the final jibe. This is the final runway and the final approach to the finish. Team New Zealand tie up the 32nd America's Cup. Team New Zealand gets its first victory against Alinghi in an America's Cup match. Team New Zealand, skippered by Dean Barker, win race 2, coming from behind on leg 3 after trailing at the first 2 marks. What a comeback, what a race. It's 1-all, Alinghi 1, Team New Zealand 1. Joy and delight echoes around the water out of Valencia, Spain, on a brilliant, brilliant comeback from Team New Zealand as Alinghi crossed the line at 28 seconds astern. So at the last mark, it was 15 seconds. So how do we make sense out of that when yesterday Alinghi had wheels and Team New Zealand go from 15 to 28 seconds? For his summary of what's happened after the last 2 incredible legs, Russell Coutts.
Hey, Matty. Well, obviously, big mistake by Alinghi up the last windward leg. And, actually, when I think back to it, they were still in control. They were still ahead. But then, a very poor leebow tack underneath Team New Zealand allowed Team New Zealand to live there. And when the breeze lifted even further left, Team New Zealand were then controlling. Team New Zealand, on the other hand, you know, after getting behind in the early stage of the race, sailed a brilliant race. They kept it close. They waited for the error. The error came, and they took their chance straight away. Fantastic race for them, and I would say this series is now all on.
2 minutes.
This is really interesting. Alinghi's really up early to the line, and you know, they must have decided they want the left-hand side of the course, because they've positioned themselves to lead in very, very early here.
Well, that's what they've done over the last two races. I know the Team New Zealand have wondered, have Alinghi wanted the left on both occasions? And it seems they have. Right, we're coming down to 90 seconds now. This is really getting serious.
Yeah, Alinghi really desperately wanted the left there. They were prepared to give away the line bias or whatever line bias there was, and they just wanted to establish that left side of the start.
So we'll see them, even if they start down to leeward, they'll want to keep it close and try and bunch up on Team New Zealand.
Well, that would be the ideal start. You know, Team New Zealand may well choose to start on port here and then position themselves up on the windward side, you know, a little bit further away from Alinghi than what they've been doing in the previous starts.
Right, that's the key thing to watch out for. As we're coming down to 50 seconds, will Team New Zealand now tack away and go on to port? That's with the wind on the left-hand side. And will it be Alinghi on starboard with the wind on the right going down to the pin end of the line as we're coming down to 35 seconds? This really has been time on distance, Russell.
Yeah.
20 seconds now.
Yeah.
And they're close, and it does look like as it Team New Zealand tacking away, as Russell predicted, they are going across to the pin end. It is a split tack start.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised Team New Zealand left that tack that late into the box, into the starting sequence.
Race 3. It's a split tack start. Alinghi on starboard, breaking out to the left. Meanwhile, Team New Zealand are on port.
Nice and low, guys.
Going across the face of the committee boat.
Mark yellow.
Yeah, I really think, you know, they should have pulled the trigger, you know, quite a bit earlier there and got their boat speed up on starboard and then, you know, initiated the tack earlier and been at full speed at the start gun would have been
Team New Zealand should have pulled the trigger, you reckon, earlier?
I think so, but it's obviously going to come down to which side of the course is favoured here. I think it was, you know, if they wanted to start to the right, that was the right way to do it. They just didn't quite execute that, you know, to the way you'd ideally want to do it.
Righto, Russell, this is a match race. Someone's got to be right and wrong here already. This is a big separation so quickly out at the start. Boy, oh boy. This will be tough on the nerves of the campaigns. So Alinghi is coming back now, and they've decided to tack. This has been a big separation so quickly at this stage. And Alinghi has been credited having gone through the tack. They're still leading by 60 metres or so.
Yeah, well, Team New Zealand gave away probably, I would say, a good 20 metres at that start there. So we, and you know, but the most important thing will be, you know, what the breeze does in terms of strength and direction up here. You could easily see, you know, a 60-metre swing, just with a little bit more pressure, you know, favoured to one boat, or you know, certainly a 10-degree wind shift. It'd mean more than a little advantage gained at the start.
Without his tag.
If you look at the wind on the weather buoys here, you can see a 99 degree just to the upper left of where the boats are right now, and it's now at 104 at 8.4 knots. And when they started, it was 115, 124 on the start boat now. So if that wind comes down the course, then the left-hand advantage that the Alinghi have right now could be quite a big gainer for them.
Similar pressure.
All right, well, 1 minute Alinghi were looking pretty famous there, and all of a sudden Team New Zealand's closed the game up. As you said, Russell, it's going to be spotty and patchy. Boy, the nerves, it's going to be tense out there.
Yeah, and wind strength, you know, when the breeze is down this much, wind strength plays a huge factor, because the boat points a lot higher when you get a little bit more breeze. So it's not only do you go faster, but you also are able to point higher.
There's not much runway left on the right, is what I'm saying, you know. Yeah.
So we hear Ray Davis saying there's not much runway left on the right, but Team New Zealand have jumped out to nearly 100-metre lead at the stage. Boy, oh boy, talk about patchy, and they've just got that pressure and they've taken off.
Well, this first cross is going to be absolutely critical, and you know, if they keep this lead, this is a really good start for Team New Zealand.
All right, so we're coming to very close to the first cross. We hear Ray Davies saying not much runway.
Happy with the right for pressure still.
When you look at the track here on the virtual eye, you can see the yellow and the blue paths separating quite a lot. And as the path separates, that just indicates the extra pressure on the right. And if we look now at the VMG figures on both boats, we'll see the extra speed and extra height that on the New Zealand boat. It's 8.2 and 6.6 VMG, which is a massive difference to have between the boats. Normally they're within 0.1 of a knot of each other, and this is going to just translate into massive separation between the two boats. And we can see 320 metres in the lead, but the big thing is the separation, and this lead's growing by the second for the New Zealanders.
That's 750 metres, or 3/4 of a kilometre apart. The first beat, that's significant. But also, Cameron, I suppose that leads to those danger signs, isn't it? You know, gosh, we're a long way away from each other. It's that situation that one team. Oh, look at there's a fair bit of motion out there, bit of sea state that we haven't seen for a while. But the separation means you've got to be alert all the time.
Yeah, and that's why we talk about, you know, you can almost get too big a lead in this light, shifty conditions, because you can't, when you get too far away, it's very hard to cover the other person. And downwind's going to be a very interesting day. That, you know, can't get too carried away too early in the race here for Team New Zealand, because downwind's going to be really, really tough. You know, as the boat behind starts getting the puffs first, and you get one knot or 2 knots more pressure, as we've seen on the boys, you can make some big gains back into the leading boat.
And a difficult wave here or there. They're not sleeping, but they're keeping down and out of the wind.
Yeah, these are the two main grinders, Mark McTeague and Matt Welling from the Alinghi team, just keeping down nice and low.
Well, after a 2-hour delay, we saw Emirates Team New Zealand enter from starboard, and they took the action deep into the box. Alinghi clearly wanting the left, and Emirates Team New Zealand similarly wanting the right, as it turned out. And it was a very good call. They conceded 80 metres or so off the not long after the start, but then being out to the right certainly was favoured. And Team New Zealand's lead is now 300 metres. 300 metres, leg one.
Yeah, this is really tough conditions, and this is kind of why Peter Reggio was delaying the start a few times as well. You know, this is getting to a point, if you can get a boat that's going to be over 300 metres ahead at the first mark, means that it's been very, very shifty and unstable out there.
Well, Russell out on North Star with Peter Montgomery. Russell, as I mentioned that Ray Davies said afterwards that the weather teams, I mean, we know they play a major part, but on a day like this, the guys on the boats, the weather spotters, this really is a big test for them, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because you've got to really just look at the wind drifting across the water and try and figure out where there's consistently more pressure. And we've seen the result of that. I mean, Team New Zealand's had just more wind all the way up on the starboard tack, and just got further and further ahead. This is just a massive lead, and very, very difficult for Lingy to get back into this race now, I would say. Yeah, so they'll be using a code down probably in sail, meaning if they normally were using a code 2 Jenica, they'd use a code 1.
So at the end of the first beat to windward in race number 3, Team New Zealand has jumped out to a colossal lead. Here it clicks off at 1:23. Who would have believed it? At the end of the first leg, Mark 1, it is Alinghi, the defender of the America's Cup, trailing the challenger by 1:23.
New Zealand would have enjoyed just sailing past Alinghi here and taking a little bit of their pressure away from them, and nice and easy on the right-hand side, down the run with probably more pressure out there. It's a bit of a no-brainer, and now from here on they just have to cover any moves that Alinghi make. And I think we could see here that when Alinghi jibed off, they had a nice bit of pressure and they sailed into Emirates Team New Zealand just a little bit, but Emirates Team New Zealand knew that they would also get that pressure and that it was a short gust. We heard them up the mast saying it's not going to last for long, and it didn't. So New Zealand just sailing with a loose cover downwind, breathing behind, and doing a nice job.
Well, Alinghi has clawed back. Team New Zealand still very comfortable. Whoop, who's gone swimming there? Boy, oh boy. Oh, that's Richard Meacham, I think. Oh, he makes it look so simple, and he doesn't go diving in the water like that. So here comes the drop from Team New Zealand. This is halfway through the race.
Yeah, just because of that wind shift there, they were caught a little bit out of position where they couldn't quite lay the mark, so they had to do a double jibe at the end. Again, not a major problem. They've got a nice lead, and they just prefer to go around the mark and be hitting the right mark, should I say, and be hitting the correct way. Alinghi might have made a little gain down here, but I don't think it's enough of a gain to really put Team New Zealand under pressure.
Halfway through the race now, another windward leeward to go, and the clock is ticking against Alinghi.
It was interesting what happened on that drop of Team New Zealand. Not sure if something went wrong with the string line or whatever, but they took them a while to get the Jenica into the boat.
Team New Zealand led by 1 minute 23 seconds at mark number 1. This is the white Jenica of Alinghi coming down to the mark. They're going around at a different mark, different gate on Alinghi. Remember, 1:23. No, they're still the same mark they are going.
Yeah.
Here they are winding up 1:23. At least they have reduced it to.
I think they were both saying that it was a big right-hand shift there, so they would have had to have gone around that gate mark.
So from 1:23 down to 1:02. But that is still a massive advantage to Team New Zealand in this weight of breeze and this seaway Russell Coutts.
Well, that's right. If somebody said, I'll give you a minute advantage at the bottom mark, I think you'd be pretty happy with that, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Dick Meacham off the bow trying to get the string line. He didn't get it, I think, Cameron, and that's when he went in the water, and therefore we had a slow sail, slow spinnaker drop. Poor recovery. It's taken them until now to get the spinnaker out of sight.
Yeah, it was a pretty tough situation. They got a bit of a wind shift coming into the bottom mark, and they actually put themselves, well, I wouldn't say they put themselves, they ended up in a very tough situation where they had to do a right side Kiwi drop and then jibe back again, so they ended up going very slow around the mark. And Richard Meacham went out to get the string line, and that's when he, in these sloppy conditions, he lost control a little bit and almost fell in the water. And that just didn't allow them to get the string line hooked up, and they had to jibe, had to do the drop. So then they did a manual drop, and in those conditions, without the string sucking the spinnaker in, they're doing a Kiwi drop, which is when you jibe, the spinnaker is coming down the windward side of the boat. There's a lot of places on the rig for the spinnaker to get caught up in.
And it did.
And that's what happened, and we've seen them take a couple of minutes around the mark to actually get the spinnaker cleared out of the Genoa sheets.
Okay, we can just have a look through Ben Morrison, Jack and Virtual about how this has affected them and what happened.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting last couple of minutes. Firstly with this drop and the right-hand shift at the bottom mark. You would like to think these guys are professional enough not to have any distraction from that spinnaker on the bow, and I don't think they did. But what happened was a bit of a wind shift and perhaps some difference in pressure. We see here the VMGs on the two boats, and look at the separation just growing and growing, which is translated straight into at least a 150-metre comeback for Alinghi. And although the lead's still quite a big one from Team New Zealand, if it does get even more fluky out there, then they could be close enough to pounce.
It's basically bow to bow.
It is bow to bow. They're giving it 5 metres.
Yeah, they're doing it.
It's a big dip. It's a big dip.
Team New Zealand tactically bowing here.
So it's Team New Zealand. They wanted to obviously, okay, their lee bow tack. Now here's a key thing. Will Alinghi be able to live there, Russell? This is going to be a trial of strength. Quickly though, before we watch all that, number one, translates just what's happened.
Well, this was all set up by getting in a phase at the bottom mark. You know, the big right-hand shift, that might have happened really quickly. We heard the guys on the boats talking about it. It kind of confused their drop a little bit. And most importantly, they got out of phase with the wind at the bottom mark, sailed through the header, and then it split the wrong way. Boy, they've got to...
But just to also talk, Russell, what's happened? The lee bow tack, Team New Zealand tacking where they did. Alinghi's living there. Is this a replay and reverse of what we saw 2 days ago?
It may be. You know, it looked like Team New Zealand pulled that lee bow tack a little bit early, a little bit like Alinghi did yesterday. But these are tough conditions. You know, you've got big waves and you've got to time the tack on the wave as well as the relative position to the other boat. So it's you know, if it was easy, anyone would be out there doing it. I think Team New Zealand will squeeze them off here. It's just a matter of whether they can do it early enough.
Righto, translate. What you're saying is that the left-hand side of the bow, or the front end of Team New Zealand, they'll be able to bring it up and make it so difficult that Alinghi's going to have to tack away. In other words, move out to the left. Is it your hunch?
Yeah, it's amazing how much the wind has affected even above the sails in these big boats. You know, so Alinghi will be getting affected, and they're obviously, they would have tacked away even before now if they didn't really want to stay on this tack, because they've already lost a little bit versus Team New Zealand. But they obviously, the breeze is heavily probably in the left here, and Alinghi just want to hold and see if they can hold them.
Get out to the lay line,
out to that lay line.
But if they can lay out there, then they're going to lead in.
Yeah, well, Team New Zealand definitely did that lee bow tack a little early. Same sort of deal as what Alinghi did yesterday.
Right, so the key, that's Murray Jones. Hi, is it Murray Jones? I can't quite see now. Anyway, it's the drag races on here. It's down to 6 metres. It was 18 metres or 20 metres nearly. So Team New Zealand's making it difficult for Alinghi, and as Russell said, normally Alinghi would tack out to the left, but they want to hang in there to try and get to the lay line. What an incredible boat race. What an incredible day of racing we've seen. Oh.
Well, that's going to be heartbreaking for these guys. I mean, wow.
But look, it's almost bow to bow now.
Yeah, they look as though they're going to get to Alinghi. Alinghi's going to have to break off before the lay line, I think. And that being the case, you know, Team New Zealand should still be able to lead around this next mark. The boats are pretty even. I don't think there's any advantage of Alinghi, that's for sure. Their speed-wise, upwind or downwind.
Well, it'll come back to boat handling, sail handling. Oh, this is a fantastic race now. It looked like it was going to be an exhibition and a procession at the top mark last time with a colossal lead of way in the high 300s. And now it's around about a 10-metre lead to Team New Zealand, closing to the top mark.
Well, of course, if Alinghi was sitting there with a, say, a 15-metre advantage now, they'd take over early before they got to the lay line.
Why?
Well, they're going to spend 15 metres in attack, and they'd be in a dipping situation, and it would be, as I keep saying, a difficult one for Team New Zealand.
Well, Alinghi's now credited.
Yeah, this could happen. I can't see.
Without now being in front. The pendulum has swung back.
No, they're not.
I'm getting punch drunk.
They're not in front, but because Team New Zealand's still got the starboard tack rights, and Lingy's got to do a tack.
Yes.
But if they get out to 20, 25 metres, I would expect they'll come across and meet Team New Zealand before this lay line.
Here they are coming back. So it's tack now. Right, tell us what you can see here, Russell.
Big dip down by Team New Zealand. Team New Zealand's going to dial them.
Here we come. Will Alinghi be able to cross? Will Alinghi, or are they going to leave out? What? Ooh.
Good defending by Team New Zealand there.
And now it's Team New Zealand who tack away. So Team New Zealand pulled the bow down towards Alinghi. There was a couple of moves back though. Oh.
I can't see where they are on the course, unfortunately, but
getting very close to the top mark.
I think it was a good move, good defending by Team New Zealand there.
So they're right in the apex of the triangle, about 500 metres to the top mark.
This is a difficult position on the course for Team New Zealand to defend.
Why?
Liggy's done a nice job.
Here it is now. We can see they're coming right to the apex. Team New Zealand out to the right. Why is it difficult for Team New Zealand, Russell?
Team New Zealand's got to decide now whether to go out to the starboard tack lay line and defend, and that's assuming that there's no wind shifts. You know, if the breeze goes left here, Linggy's going to cross them.
What a boat race. This is just incredible after what we saw earlier on with a huge advantage and close to 400 metres, and now this. And the pendulum is starting to swing back. I take your covenant, Russell. They've got a tack. That's going to take 25 metres. They've got to cross them. And remember, Team New Zealand will have the starboard hand advantage. They've got right away. They're on starboard at the moment. And Alinghi's got to tack back. Yeah. Here they go now. Righto, take it to us, Russell. Think aloud. Tell us what you're thinking. Go.
Well, Team New Zealand should have a piece of them here, meaning that they should be able to tack them over onto starboard.
That's the mark they're heading to up there, Russell.
Yeah, it's real close.
Will they be able to pinch up? If they underlaid it? Are Alinghi going to be able to tack through?
Well,
if Alinghi can hold this and get through, will they be able to cross over in front? This is an incredible cross, folks.
No, they're dipping.
No, here we go.
I think they're going to have to dip Team New Zealand.
Here they go. Are they going to make a commitment? The umpires are right there. They're going to live there. They're going to cross. Alinghi's going to cross. Alinghi's in front. Alinghi has crossed us in front, and they're in the shadow of the top mark 3. Alinghi is in front. Can you believe it, folks? They've come from behind by nearly 400 metres astern at this mark last go. Now the defender is in front. 1 leg to go. What a race. Into the final leg. Alinghi goes to the hoist. We'll get them round the mark, and then we'll get Russell Cooch to translate that. And believe it or not, Team New Zealand, after leading at this mark by 1 minute 23, are now trailing by 15 seconds. Boy, oh boy, Team New Zealand's closing in here. The anxiety level's going up again. The pendulum swinging back again.
Yeah, and Alinghi's got to perform a jibe yet too to get down to Team New Zealand. So really close here, about a hour probably.
Oh. So we're getting well down the course now. And again, you can see how it's spotty out there. 7 knots out, nearly 8 knots out to the left, 6 and a bit out to the right. You said earlier in the day, Russell, was going to be difficult downhill and spotty, and that's what we're seeing. It could be the winning and losing of the race. Alinghi's in front just.
Yeah, I've got to say, I'm surprised Alinghi didn't jibe earlier here and even come back and you know, bounce Team New Zealand down towards this ley line, because they could have.
It's under 10 metres. Team New Zealand's getting closer. It's incredible. It's going to be bow to bow in a moment. Team New Zealand's clawing into this. What a race. Well, already this race was going to sail into America's Cup history.
Yeah, I'm surprised that when Team New Zealand jibed onto starboard, Alinghi didn't jibe back at them. The breeze must be firmly in the left down here to keep Alinghi on this tack. Otherwise, they would have for sure jibed and gone down and then set up on Team New Zealand.
Now, what Russell's talking about, folks, is jibing is changing direction with the wind behind you. In other words, they move the sails across and head across towards Team New Zealand is what he's talking about.
Yeah, but they haven't got the option now, because if they jibe now, they'll be behind Team New Zealand. So they've got to wait for some sort of wind shift back or some sort of gust back. Right now, Team New Zealand's ahead right now.
Team New Zealand is ahead. Team New Zealand has come from behind. Team New Zealand trailed by 15 seconds. And now Team New Zealand is in front.
Fastest angle, yeah?
Boy, oh boy.
100.
This is incredible. And we're getting close to the finish now.
I'm pretty surprised that Alinghi didn't close that down a little bit more then. This is... it's obviously not easy conditions out here. That's what you could say.
Similar pressure, yeah.
Certainly a lot easier sitting on the commentary boat.
It is, absolutely. Right, coming up to the final 1,500 metres. A distance famous in another sport. But the final 1,500 metres in this race, what will be going through the mind of that man, the tactician and skipper of Alinghi? He had it. They were out to nearly 100-metre advantage. Incredible to think that Team New Zealand led by over 400 metres.
I mean, in hindsight, just where these boats are set up on this course, it's hard to see why, as soon as Team New Zealand jibed onto starboard, why Alinghi didn't jibe back onto port. Even if they had lost a bit, I think they still could have easily gone down, set up on Team New Zealand on the long jibe into the finish. Now it's just too late to contemplate that. They've got to wait and try and they're getting a shift back now.
They're getting the shift back.
Yes. They need a bigger one than this to get back to Team New Zealand.
Expand more, Russell. People across New Zealand are hanging on every word you're saying. Why do they need more? What's got to happen? What has Team New Zealand got to do now to get their bow back?
Well, but because they'll spend 15, 20 metres in a jibe.
Yeah.
And then Team New Zealand's got starboard tack rights there, so it gives them a little bit more. Yeah, the breeze is starting to phase back to the left now, obviously, because you can see Alinghi's gaining. And that's just wind shift. That's not boat speed or anything like that. That's just straight wind shift when the boats are this distance apart. So Alinghi's waiting for a shift to the right. Sorry, a shift to the right, and that will favour them and put them in front.
Good pressure with this header.
So Ray Davies talking about good pressure.
Yeah. More header to come.
More header. So Team New Zealand reckon they got a header now. So we'll get Russell to translate that in a minute about the header. So now Alinghi is credited with being a 60-second. Russell, people hanging across on every word you're saying. Just quickly explain. Ray Davies saying the Team New Zealand's got a header.
Well, Team New Zealand want a header now too. A header means the breeze has gone left, and a left would mean the breeze has gone right. So if the breeze goes right, it favours Alinghi. If the breeze goes left, it favours Team New Zealand. So it's just really, this race is going to be decided by the wind here. Pretty loose race at the bottom of the run by Alinghi, and it's going to be interesting to see what pans out in the end.
100 again.
So that's Ray Davies talking. There's still a hell of a separation here between these boats. It's amazing. Seeing it with the naked eye, folks, it's amazing. And boy, oh boy, it's clouding down now. So here comes Alinghi going through the jibe. And Team New Zealand's right into this is absolutely bow to bow. Virtual Eye giving it to Alinghi just by a matter of metres. It's not even that. It'll be Team New Zealand any moment with their bow in front. Now it's Team New Zealand. The lead changes again according to Virtual Eye.
Yeah, I think this is looking very, very strong for New Zealand here. They've got starboard tack rights and they're you know, there's a lot of separation to the boats, so they're going to be down at the finish line by the time the boats converge.
Oh, this is incredible.
Another 100, you know.
The separation just over 200 metres now. They're coming there. It's just over 200 metres to the finish. Virtual Eye has Team New Zealand in front. The fans are cheering as though it's a football game. Race 3 of the 32nd America's Cup sails into America's Cup history as a dramatic thriller. Team New Zealand led by just over 400 metres at Mark 1. At Mark 3, the pendulum had turned through dramatic happenings, and it was Alinghi that led by nearly 100 metres. And then over halfway down the last leg, it was Team New Zealand that got back in front. The pendulum swung back to Alinghi, and now we come to the finish, and in an absolute thriller, one of the great races in America's Cup history, it is Team New Zealand that come back, and they will cross ahead of the defender. Absolutely stunning. It's been a thriller. It's been pulsating. It's been heart-stopping. It is Team New Zealand that have beaten Alinghi. It is Team New Zealand 2, Alinghi 1. What a race. What a thriller. Incredible. Russell Coots, can you believe it? You've been involved in enough America's Cup competition, you've studied the history. This has been one of the great races. Right now we're getting serious down to the final 90 seconds.
Both boats still probably around 40 seconds back from the line, 30 seconds away, so plenty of time to kill. I think he's got a fair bit of separation up there, so I'd probably see Ed Baird just to try and keep this separation. And it looks like they're happy to start to windward. See Dean Barker luffing up into the wind, really trying to get as tight as he possibly can to Ed. But now this will be interesting to see how long in this drag race Alinghi will be able to hang in there.
And also it's a question of they're trying to scrub some time off because they're still far too close at 53, 52, 51, 50 seconds, aren't they?
Very, very close to the line. And as you can see, very tight on the committee boat lay line. But being so early, eventually Team New Zealand will turn down and open the door up. But I know Dean will be trying to wait as long as possible. Here we go now. Both bows coming down, the speed build.
Now the question is who's going to get the slingshot start here. And as James has said, whether or not Alinghi can live on the hip. So they're starting to wind down the line now. It's Team New Zealand on the lead out towards the pin end. This is all about timing as we're coming down to the final 10 seconds. Now, here they go. We'll start race 4, America's Cup 32. It's clear, Alinghi in the windward position, Team New Zealand in the leeward position. We can see the sea state here is pretty bumpy. Now comes the trial of strength, as James said.
Yeah, nice job from Ed Baird there. You actually see he got a little bit better acceleration there and just able to shoot forward and off the line. And he was able to open that separation we talked about so much before the start. And these light conditions with the waves really want to try and close it up. So Alinghi at the moment in a pretty controlling position.
Jimmy, I reckon also maybe Alinghi, I don't know whether I'm imagining it from this distance, just looking at the naked eye here without the benefit of one view, just whether or not Alinghi was just lifting up a bit higher.
Almost looked like they may have got a little bit of a right-hand shift, a little puff, and that's what gave them that jump off the line, because I honestly thought that Dean was going to be able to get the better start there to leeward. I think Alinghi benefited from a little puff right at the gun.
And let's just rewind what you said, tight and close, and Team New Zealand haven't got that. So either Team New Zealand weren't able to do it, or Alinghi wriggled clear of that. Just explain what would be the best for that.
Well, I think what Dean did was a good job. You know, he jibed back, chose to lead into the start line, obviously got a call that the guys were liking the left, tried to keep the separation down, but I think he was a little unlucky. I think Alinghi got the benefit of a little bit of pressure, maybe a little right-hand shift. And as you said, I mean, they visually, to me now, look a little bit bow up and taking the benefits. But look, very early on, and hopefully that left-hand shift will come.
Angle faster. That's okay, we're well forward here. Yeah. Back to even, higher again now. Higher, same.
Right here, same. Look, that's down. That's neck and neck now, isn't it? Bow to bow.
Yeah,
it looks good at the moment, but we've still got...
Exactly. You got to remember, Team New Zealand can't do anything here until Alinghi tack. Alinghi are on the starboard tack. They'll be just going until they get to a comfortable lay line, and then they'll tack over, and they will stay hard on the wind, and Team New Zealand are going to have to position themselves so not to get affected by Alinghi, which will be a very, very difficult position to be in.
Then, of course, where do they go on the downwind leg? We've seen Team New Zealand read things pretty well in these races.
Big build for
really soft, Dino.
I wonder what Brad Butterworth was considering last night after losing that race. You just wonder, even though these sailors are so experienced, Cameron, they've been around for a long time and won everything going, whether a little dint in confidence can upset exactly that, their confidence. There goes Alinghi now.
In any sport, the psychological part, in sailing, it's a lot of it's the top 10% of your head that is the biggest part. So Alinghi have tacked over now. We would have to assume that both boats are on lay line, or what we're saying is that on this tack they'll be able to make it around the top mark. The Team New Zealand have had to go just a little bit further up on their up to windward of Alinghi, and now we'll see Alinghi probably go. They won't be sailing necessarily their normal VMG. They'll try and sail in a pretty high mode, a little bit closer to the wind, and try and work up towards Emirates Team New Zealand here.
So we're getting towards the first mark, and Peter, that's been a fairly impressive performance by Alinghi, and what a drag race it's been.
Yes, it has been a drag race, and we could be into a super game of maritime chess now, similar to what we saw at the end of leg number 3, the second beat yesterday. Because now, boy, the afterguards have really got to start thinking ahead, not only about what's happening now, but 2 or 3 moves further down the track.
Yeah, I mean, what a long boat speed drag we just saw. And I think what we saw was the benefit of how patchy the wind's been. Saw Alinghi get out to 40, 50 metres at times. Team New Zealand close it up to 5 metres. And the boat's just tacking before lay line. But looking at those weather buoys, look like there's a little bit more left pressure to come, which will put them very, very close to lay line. But, geez, this is going to be a very, very tight run.
And according to the information we've got, James, they actually tack below the lay line.
Tack below, but if they get any more, this could put them closer. And look, Team New Zealand looking pretty comfortable there. They've got just enough breathing space to hang in there. And very, very close. It's all going to come down to whether Alinghi can lay to that top mark. If they can't, then we're going to see some action.
Getting ready for the hoist. This is where you can win and lose a yacht race. Curtis Blue at mid-bow, Francesco Rapetti at the mast for Alinghi. You can see the bump in the sea there. That's a very good demonstration. Mark 1, race 4. And the clock is ticking against Team New Zealand. Nice hoist from Alinghi. As Team New Zealand goes round, and it stops at 22.0 seconds. So the advantage after the first leg, 20 seconds to Alinghi.
Yeah, great set from Alinghi there. Textbook stuff. Expect to see the same thing from Team New Zealand. No, here we go, different move. Team New Zealand doing what we call early jibe set, and we had a code word of Sandakan and Luna Rossa, but what they're trying to do is straight away get straight onto that left-hand side that they saw on the upwind. See Alinghi match the jibe as well, so jibe set from Team New Zealand. And a pretty tidy one too.
All right, so give us the options here.
So
the red Jenica, what are they got to do to erode the advantage that Alinghi have got?
So Team New Zealand opted for the early jibe there. Alinghi, just the normal bear-away set. Team New Zealand went for the early jibe in the hope to try and put some dirty air onto Alinghi and try and roll him. difficult to tell from this shot, but I think Alinghi have just got enough wind clear just in front of them. But either way, Terry Hutchinson maybe spoke with Adam Beechwell, saw a little bit of pressure on the left-hand side of the course, and they opted for that early jibe. So let's see if that pays off.
Meanwhile, for Alinghi to defend the advantage, apart from staying away from getting the airflow coming down on them, the other key thing is they've got to be thinking ahead in terms of their when they change direction, when they jibe.
Yeah, you see straight away, I mean, Brad Butterworth, very, very tight race. As soon as the Kiwis went for the jibe set, straight away he's jibed. So I wonder if we're going to see a race that he's really going to monitor that separation today.
Well, my men in the field tell me that Brad knew that he opened the door for Team New Zealand on that last leg by not jibing with them, at least to get bow out. There were very, very good reasons why they didn't jibe, because of the spotty nature of the wind right across the course. And we heard Russell Coutts explain that yesterday. But even so, that didn't help Brad Butterworth. They lost.
It's a real tough balance in these sort of conditions as how much you can cover and how much you really need to balance it out and sail your own race. But Alinghi, you've just got enough of a lead here. They were able to do the jibe, match it, and keep that separation pretty tight.
Well, leg number 2 at the first market was 20 seconds in favour of Alinghi. And what we saw was really just a drag race. Now let's have a look at the statistics from leg 1, Ben.
Yeah, we can see here a gain on the leg of 19 seconds, but the main thing was the long drag race out on starboard, and the fact that Alinghi could live there and all the way out to the port ley line and then take that lead. 9.5 knots average speed for both boats, and everything else is really irrelevant. It's just that 19-second lead they've got now, and we'll see if they can hold it to the bottom up.
Leg 2 of this race 4, Emirates Team New Zealand against Alinghi. No change really, it's still about 90 metres the difference, and Alinghi still in front, but Team New Zealand have jibed since we were back with live pictures before our break. So let's, through Ben Morris and Jack and Virtual, go back over what's happened.
You just see the Kiwis just threw in a jibe just as we went to the break, and Alinghi were quick to cover them with a jibe off, and still breathing just ahead of them and sailing a little bit of a higher mode as we see the gap close just slightly there.
Yeah, it's quite common in that situation for Alinghi that they need to sail a little higher, faster mode just to protect their clear air. We see Team New Zealand jibing again now. We'll see whether Alinghi match them jibe for jibe. No, we hear that was was a bad jibe here on Team New Zealand. Really bad. They've got it twisted around the head stay a little. Oh, this could be. Let's hope we don't see the spinnaker tearing here. It's probably caught up on the jumpers up where Adam Beechwell is at the top of the rig. Just coming out clear now. And it looks okay. No tears in the spinnaker, but that's certainly going to cost them a couple of boat lengths there at least.
And we heard Brad Butterworth say, let's go straight.
Yeah, we heard just right before there, we heard Murray Jones up the rig saying, no, good pressure this way, let's go straight. And we see Team New Zealand there, they're slow, they're just building their speed back, only 8 knots against Alinghi's 10 knots.
That cost them 50 metres.
Yeah, and probably a little more yet by the time they get up to speed and get going.
So, okay, they're hoisting the jib. Still very difficult to tell whether they can soak into that mark. Team New Zealand jibing, they're going to have to jibe.
And that will cost them some time.
It will cost them a little bit of time, but it may give them the option at the bottom there to do the split.
Looking left guy favour in pre-show. Are you getting me down, right? Yeah. Go ahead. Left guy favour.
Right, so we're coming down now to mark number 2. Now the pendulum has marginally gone back to Alinghi. Team New Zealand did look pressed up. They looked good before that jibe, but they've just lost a fraction. It's now over 100 metres.
I think they're going to gain some back here. Look at Alinghi really having to soak in to lay that mark.
Yeah.
Look at that.
They're coming in slowly. There's white bow wave coming off Team New Zealand. We're looking at this physically, not on the television screen here. We're just looking out on it. Man alive. Still 100 metres.
Alinghi very, very slow there. Had to really soak down. Word on lay line. The Kiwis, on the other hand, fully pressed up coming into this mark.
So Mark 2, remember, Alinghi led by 20 seconds at the top mark. This is halfway through the race.
Kiwis going to the other mark, BJ. Going to get a split.
So down they spike the chute. Drags in the water. 25. It is a gain to Alinghi after all that. 20 seconds Mark 1. At Mark 2 it is 34 seconds. Right, to summarise just what he's seen and more importantly right in front of him and what he thinks may happen. Here's Jimmy.
Yeah, interesting. There wasn't a real back and forth and very, very tight game by Brad Butterworth, I thought. Not much separation really until the last third of the run. But I think Team New Zealand came in with better speed but may have lost a little bit due to the favouring of the gate and how that was set up with the wind direction. I think Alinghi's gate was a little bit further to windward. Team New Zealand may have had to sail a little bit further, but we've got the separation. Split tack. Team New Zealand did like the left before the start, and that's the direction they're going now. So this is going to be interesting to see who will tack first.
Exactly, a little bit on your own. He's so far away, Gary.
Advantage line has gone right down to 5 or 6 metres. So Team New Zealand and Alinghi, who are separated by quite some distance now. They went out to over 800 metres at one stage. It's around about the same now, 790 metres. As we say, there's going to be a winner and a loser. And at the moment, Cameron, Team New Zealand will be quite happy with where they are.
Yeah, and just
but there's a lot of racing to do.
Man, there's some incredibly difficult conditions out here at the moment. You look at these waves they've got going, and they're only sailing in 9 knots of breeze with this sea state. It's incredibly difficult to keep these boats moving all the time. Yeah, the trimmers, the bucket traveller guy, the helmsman are just going to be working so hard through here. And Team New Zealand have made a really nice game. As we saw on the first upwind leg, it's going to come and go. You've just got to manage to pick your time to use the gain. And Terry Hutchinson and the afterguard on Emirates Team New Zealand will be just waiting for a little bit of a left shift and a little bit of pressure so they can tack back and close the game back up to Alinghi.
Well, 30 metres. There's tension there. And as you mentioned, the conditions, Cameron, this means this is a physically but mentally demanding. Some of those sailors last night, I looked at Adam Bichel, he looked like he'd been through the ringer. Of course, he'd been up the mast as well, but you could see in his eyes how tired and strained out he really was. That was a tough day.
Yeah, the mental concentration that's needed for these races, you know, we're going for an hour 45 up to 2 hours. For the helmsman and the trimmers especially and the tactician, you know, it is incredible.
Right, we're into leg number 3. Let's just recap on this leg through Virtual Eye and Ben Morrison, Jack.
Yeah, the Emirates Team New Zealand chose to take the other mark, and they did so with a lot more pace than Alinghi, and because of that we've got quite a big split, and we had up to 800 metres separation, and with the wind dying and the direction changing so much, it's getting a lot more random as this race goes on, and Alinghi are just holding on, but it's all in the lap of the gods now and what happens with the wind shift. So it's as you can see, the path snaking their way upwind there. That's just because of the waves and the wind and direction changing and the strength changing. So it's not over yet by a long shot.
Getting up to the top mark, around figures 1,000 metres to go. We're up in the top left hand of the course.
Very, very tight here. What was seen, very tight game by Alinghi, initial split, but then came back, and we've seen a slow sort of tacking duel up the top half of the course here, and Team New Zealand done pretty well in this tacking duel. speaking with Tom Whitten, we both feel that the Kiwi boat, a little less stability, maybe a little bit less drag, probably suited towards these lighter conditions, maybe accelerates a little better out of the tacks. Right in this race now, down to 60, 70 metres, so this is going to be a very, very difficult run, PJ.
Very soon, Alinghi are going to tack. This is coming to mark number 3. Last time they went round this mark, it was 20 seconds. Mark 2, it was 34. Alinghi near the mark, the defender, the challenger Team New Zealand in the wake. The Louis Vuitton clock is ticking against Team New Zealand at mark 3.
PJ, let's watch for the jibe set here on Team New Zealand again. This will be interesting here.
Indian, isn't it? Yeah, Indian. I got a date. Yeah.
It was 34 at the last mark, and it's 25, a gain of 9 seconds.
Yep, jibe set, PJ. Same as before. Kiwis going straight into the jibe. See the mainsail coming across, jib coming down, spinnaker floating around to the other side. And the interesting thing here for me is will Alinghi jibe straight away like last time and keep that separation down. Jib just hanging in there on the water. Jero, Richard working hard.
So what Team New Zealand were doing there is making sure they're going away in a different direction.
Trying to get that separation. It's a long way down, but Brad Butterworth straight away jibe. And is really, really sailing a tighter game than yesterday, PJ. Really trying to keep that separation down. This is going to be a long run to the finish.
On the previous legs, we could definitely had the feeling that anything could happen with the breeze, and it was getting a lot lighter and down to an average of 7 knots. But for the majority of this leg, it's been 9, 10, and sometimes even 11 knots. You can see from the weather buoy readings there where they are right now. It's 11.8 knots. So that's the reason they're jibing differently, and that's also may affect this race in that it'll become less random and it'll just come down to this jibing job.
Okay, so half a dozen jibes so far in this third and fourth and final leg. Switzerland, that's SUI 100, leading by still over 100 metres. So the options now, Cameron, are...
Well, Team New Zealand's now got a split. This last jibe, Alinghi didn't match. It's the first time they haven't matched down the run, and maybe they were feeling that they were losing a little bit in the jibes.
Emirates Team New Zealand, can you guys move back a bit?
There's Ray Davies using a more subtle approach than Brad Butterworth did in earlier races to ask one of the boats to move away from them. Hopefully that TV crew heard them.
Best pressure we've had.
Best pressure we've had, says Ray Davies.
No, I really agree with what James Spittle said down there. It looked to me like Emirates Team New Zealanders were jibing the boat a little bit better, getting their spinnaker filled a little bit more. Both boats like the way they're going at the moment.
He'll be fine on the other jibe as well. Okay, let's stand by here.
Yeah, so Murray's up the rigger said, nice pressure for us, but he said Team New Zealand have a nice breeze as well. They'll be fine on theirs as well. So I'm not going to give them too much space. They've still got over 100-metre lead.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? The decision was there to be made. Should we stay on our track where Murray Jones had said, that's pretty good here, or do we take the option of jibing and staying close? And that's what they've done.
Yeah, they're not going to get caught out like they did yesterday, or certainly not going to. That's not their intention. I know that'll be in the back of Brad Butterworth's mind.
Nice pressure.
You can definitely sense an air of tension on the Alinghi boat today. I've been really impressed listening to the comments coming off Emirates Team New Zealand today. The guys seem really positive, really motivated. All the whole tone off the boat and the comments coming from that we can only hear a few of them, but we hear Ray Davies and Adam Bieshel, a little bit of Terry Hutchinson on when you pick them up on another mic, and the guys are really positive. They're into it. Hearing some of the comments off Alinghi, there just seems to be a little bit more of an edge, a little bit more tension on board. Like they're feeling it, and they know that this is a crucial race for them.
couple of boat lengths in it now. 16 to 5, 70 metres.
Yeah, big gain from Team New Zealand. Another nice jibe on them.
Ray Davies said that's as good as we've had.
Really nice shift here. Oh, it's a really nice wave coming.
Which pretty much means make the most of it, Dean.
Yes, exactly. Into the trimmers. Ray Davies certainly acts as the motivator of the team and really keeps the spirits up. He's done a fantastic job today with some nice, well-timed comments along the way.
Still cloudy and overcast and quite gloomy here in Valencia. Helicopters clattering above, but looks a bit like a Dragonfly's tea party above us.
It's winding down now. Opportunities starting to run out for Team New Zealand here. It'll be about 2 minutes on each jibe. Visually, the wind has actually come in a little bit more. I wonder if this cloud cover, every time it comes out onto the course, it's actually helped the wind here today. The one time it did die off was when it really cleared up, but now just sort of holding in there, and the boats look a little bit more powered up today.
So just around 800 metres to go now to the finish. Time is running out. Difficult for Team New Zealand now, going through yet another jibe. They're trying to make things happen though still.
Yeah, still fighting away here, jibing. I think they've done the right thing, PJ, for this leg. You know, really attacked, tried to get some separation, but Alinghi just hasn't allowed it. They've gone jibe for jibe. Boat handlings look good on both boats. And Alinghi on this bottom half of the run really has protected the ride. And speaking to Tom Wynn before, we both thought we saw a little increase on the right-hand side pressure-wise. And that's certainly what Alinghi have protected on this bottom half of the run. Got a real series in our hands now, PJ.
Absolutely. Well, we started a 9-race series. Effectively, this is going to make it a 5-race series.
Starts again, best of 5.
It does. Have a break tomorrow. Think about it, boys. And best of 5, first to 3. That's what it's looking like. So it is inside 100 meters now. Murray Jones doing a super job up the mast. He has done so in the past in other America's Cups, certainly out of San Diego in 1995. Such an astute judge. Has an opinion on the weather that's really worth listening to. So getting very close to the finish now. After 4 races of the 32nd America's Cup, Valencia 2007, it's all square. It's 2-all. Alinghi, the America's Cup defender, skippered by Brad Butterworth, wins race 4 in a tight contest after sailing a very good race on another day in tough, taxing conditions of 7 to 9 knots and a difficult sea wave. Team New Zealand tried very hard to be able to get out to a 3-1 advantage, but in the end it's smiles aboard Alinghi and a pat on the back for helmsman Ed Baird. It's all level at 2-all as Alinghi now sails past the line, and it's Team New Zealand who come down and click off at 30 seconds. So we started with a 9-race series. There are 5 races left. And we effectively now have a 5-race series with a break tomorrow.
Race committee standing by 08.
Meanwhile, business carries on as Peter Reggio is giving instructions to both boats.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Sounds like a measurement check, PJ.
It looks like it. Yes, we should explain what happens with the measurement check.
The end of each race, obviously Ken McAlpine, chief measurer of the Louis Vuitton Cup and America's Cup, and he will do these spot checks. He'll come on straight after the race, and what he's looking at is he's looking to see if you're carrying the right number of sails. You have a limit to how many you can take. He'll check the crew list and check the crew weights. And the one other thing you must be able to do is pull that mainsail down without anyone up the mast. So I think what will happen is we'll see Murray Jones, Adam Bichel come down. Both boats will have to show that they can perform, that they can drop that main by tripping it off that halyard lock at the top without anyone up the mast. But look, nothing to be too concerned about. Happens a lot through the racing, and Ken McAlpine obviously just doing his job.
Just over 6 minutes now to the start. The course axis is at 125. Currently, at the moment, we've got 14 to 15 knots here. It is a magnificent day out off Valencia today.
Yeah, beautiful day, PJ. It just doesn't get any better. I mean, this is what we came to Valencia for. This is what we told we'd get, and we're certainly getting that today. And I'm pretty confident that these guys are going to be going for the ride. I think when it's so steady like this and the wind speed's up, just so powerful having that right-hand side.
So we're going to have a dogfight. We've seen that really both teams have got what they wanted in really the first 4 starts. So we're coming down now to 20 seconds to the start. It's Giro Lomas on the bow for Emirates Team New Zealand. Peter Van Nieuwhoven, who is on the bow for Alinghi. Right, down to 10 seconds now to the 5-minute round the ends. Minutes in the signal for round the ends, and coming in from the starboard end, the right-hand side round the bow of the committee boat is Team New Zealand. Meanwhile, coming around the pin end or the port end of the line, it's Alinghi. And immediately they're running deep into the box, and there's plenty of puff to fire them up today. Here comes Alinghi coming up into the dial-up.
Yeah, definitely expect to see a dial up here, PJ. This will be interesting to see if Dean goes straight away or really tries and positions himself back a little. Holding course. Okay, no dial up. There we go. There's a surprise. And straight away, something different we're seeing here, and I like it. I think this is a move. He's really going to try and get control of Ed. And the key here is for Dean to stay unoverlapped. He wants to be able to swing the bow, stay clear, and be right on the back of the Alinghi stern there. So you'll watch here, Alinghi will tack over, and Dean will go straight back on the port, and I think this is a real nice move, PJ.
But Team New Zealand were on starboard. They did have the right.
They were, but you've got to ask yourself, what are we dialing up for? And the whole reason you dial up is to try and get control. Now, we haven't really seen the boat on the right in these dial-ups get the benefit that the dial-up should be giving them. And I like this move. I think it's good. I mean, he's just behind. Ed can't jibe. He can't tack. And I've got, Dean in really, really good control here.
Right, so now on the lead, it is Alinghi, 100. And following them, it is NZL 92, Team New Zealand, as they are coming across towards the committee boat now. So getting very close to the committee boat.
We're coming up to 3 minutes, and this will be interesting. Ed Baird can either try and use the committee boat to get out of this control that Dean's got him under, or we may even see him come over one of these spectator boats, PJ.
All right, now coming up to 2 minutes 50, and they are just going right across the bow of the committee boat now at 2 minutes 40. So they're above the start line at the moment, and they are really coming across towards the spectator craft, coming across towards us. Boy, much further, we'll be able to jump on top of them.
Yeah, PJ, I think Ed's going to look to use that media boat up there to try and get out of this control. Dean's got him on the ropes here. Ed's got to somehow try and get out of this and try and get a start off. But so far, we see him just approaching the media boat now, coming into the shot. He's going to try and split Dean off, and he'll either try and jibe here or tack and get a start off. But I tell you what, we're getting down to 2 minutes now, so he better do it pretty quickly.
And they are right now in the spectator fleet. We're about 100 metres to below these boats now. As they're going around past, I think that's one of the fancy Louis Vuitton boats they're going around now. Coming down to 150.
Okay, the key here is for Dean to really try and lock Alinghi into an overlap. Try and get them locked into windward. They've still got time to kill. For me, they've still got to kill around 30 seconds or so for the line. But I'll tell you what, this first part of the start has been all Team New Zealand. Good control from the start from Dean. And let's see what happens in this last minute and a half.
Right, coming down to 9 minutes 20 seconds. That high shot now shows you that they're clear of the spectator fleet. They're just below the committee boat, but they really have got to scrub a lot of time off because they could easily get up to the line very quickly.
Yeah, the key here, Ed Baird, is just trying to run down to that committee boat lay line and get some room so he can start. And Dean's just trying to get him into an overlap, trying to lock him and hold him out of this star line. But I think there's just a little bit too much time to kill here, and I think Alinghi will be able to get a start off.
Right, so it's Team New Zealand. Let's get down to it. It's 47, 46, 45.
This is looking good, PJ. I think the Kiwis could get the jump here. It all depends on where the lay line is. Okay, he's committed to windward there. Really, really close. Now, can he get... Is he below the committee boat lay line? That is the question.
And can Dean Barker shut Ed Baird out at 28-27? It looks like Alinghi has got its bow inside the line from the stern of the committee boat as they're winding up now. And this is going to be a key on the start. Down to the final 15 seconds now, and they really are winding up. Alinghi will be up to the right. But down to Leeward and ahead. 5. The start race 5, and it is Team New Zealand down to Leeward and ahead. Both boats further back from the line, and it is Alinghi who is tacking. So both boats back from the line. Alinghi is tacked and is coming across. Now they have got the right, and Jimmy did tell us before the power of the right could be a factor later on, but Team New Zealand have got a super slingshot start out of that.
Yeah, great job, Dean Barker there. Had full control in the first half of the start. Ed, pretty fortunate to be able to get over to the spectator fleet, because if those boats wouldn't have been there, he was really on the ropes. But you saw Team New Zealand, both boats are a little late, but it didn't matter. Team New Zealand had the half boat length jump. They were faster when they hit the line. And the important part is Alinghi had to pay for the ride. They didn't get it for free. It wasn't an even split. They had to pay something for the ride. So now time will tell, is the shift big enough on the right to make up for that initial loss? So Adam Bichel there just calling the puffs onto the boat. Helps the trimmer. The trimmer can't see because he's down to leeward. Probably the wettest part of it there, but that's where Adam Bichel will help him out, call the pressure. And this will be the real test. If Team New Zealand can live there, hold all the way out to lay line, they'll be in a good position. If, however, Alinghi starts to gain and is able to come up around their bow because of that right-hand shift, maybe because of boat speed, then the Kiwis will look to tack.
So he'd be it on the helm there for Alinghi. Brad Butterworth just standing up, looking around. Juan Vila, an outstanding navigator for Alinghi. Around the world sailor in a Spanish entry. And highly regarded amongst the America's Cup sailing community.
123 crosswind. Speed.
That's his voice right there.
That's what he was just talking about, Juan Vila there. 123 crosswind. So what that means is you can see them shooting the laser every now and then between the boats. Now that tells tacticians wind direction at 123 we're even for. It means that the boats are bow to bow out of the tack. So they're hoping for 123 or more to be a little ahead. But right now, I mean, looking at this camera shot, I think the Kiwis have done a pretty good job. They initial loss, of course, for the first right shift, but that margin's been hanging around 7-8 metres, and as the whole time this is going, they're getting further and further to the right-hand side. This is a real trial of strength, I think, for the Kiwis. I mean, holding in a tough spot here. The shift is going right. It's going a little against them. But as Kevin's saying, our mode, the way we're sailing the boat, we're just doing just fine, hanging in there. And we see it on the virtual eye. It's been back and forwards, a little to Team New Zealand, a little to Alinghi. But this shot here, PJ, shows a great difference between the mast angle, or what we call a rate. You can see Team New Zealand a little bit further raked, Alinghi a little bit more stood up, and that's all to do with the balance of the boat, the feel the helmsman gets, and just a different way of thinking there between the two boats. So now in the mind of Terry Hutchinson and Dean Barker, they're thinking, you don't want to go right on the lay line just in case it shifts back. You want to tack when you're sure you're over it. And this is what we're seeing now. Kevin Hall said, comfortable, no problem. Chose to tack. And this will be a gain for the Kiwis.
So Team New Zealand now tack. They're out to the left, Alinghi out to the right. They're above the lay line. So just remember, folks, that high overhead shot with the triangle and looking to the apex of the triangle, what I was describing was the touch lines, which we call the lay line out on the water, but the touch line keeps moving because of the wind. It's not static, quite obviously, like a football stadium. And now they're on a one-way track to the top mark.
Very good start by New Zealand. They controlled the start and forced the split tack. I guess Alinghi wanted the right and they got it, and both boats headed out here. Then we set up with the opposite of what we had in race 4 with a long drag out on port instead of out on starboard, and the wind shifted through about 5 degrees, giving Alinghi the lead at some stage for a little while when the wind was in the right, but then it shifted back to 117 to the left, and that's why the New Zealanders have been able to hang on past the lay line. So for mine, a little bit of a boat speed edge to Alinghi, but a lot of power with the Kiwis right now.
Still a very, very tight race set. Advantage line at 17 metres.
Right inside 400 metres now, getting very close to the top mark. It's Team New Zealand out to the right, Alinghi out to the left. So there's so many equations, and we'll get Jimmy to go through these. What to do between now and the top mark. What is the maritime game of chess being played at the moment. But these fellas will be thinking around the corner as well, because how are they going to position themselves up? What hoist are they going to do? And which way will they go downhill? This is a hell of a boat race, folks. I asked about 25 questions there, Jimmy. Tick them off.
Well, obviously the boat's approaching the top mark here on starboard tack. So they'll do a tack set. They've got to turn the boat around that mark there. We see it there. Turn to the right, bear away, hoist the asymmetric. Now there's different size sails, but in this condition they'll probably hoist what's called an A3. I don't think we're yet into a spinnaker, but I could be wrong. A3, set up around 14, 16 knots. And what you'll see is Alinghi, because they're behind, they get the wind first. They'll either try and blanket Team New Zealand in front of them with their wind shadow, or look to try and slide inside, thinking about the next move. Because when that next move comes, they'll be driving onto starboard, and that'll be their next opportunity to try and blanket their wind.
So round mark 1, and it is Team New Zealand who are leading, and the clock is ticking against Alinghi. This is race 5, mark 1. And it's 12 seconds. Team New Zealand lead Alinghi. Right. The red Jenica. What have the team aboard Team New Zealand got to do to defend as we look at the hoist coming from Alinghi?
Well, firstly, great set, Team New Zealand. Alinghi a little slow in the set, so already a little jump there. See it there, just getting the sheet caught around him. But I think they just jumped another half a boat length just for the better boat handling. So Team New Zealand now want to try and slide a little to leeward, so a little closer to the middle of the course. So when that time comes and they have to do the move, do the jibe onto starboard, you see it on the shot there, they want to be ready to clear their air. Alinghi here, you can see it just trying to come to the right of our screen. There's a good shot there. Trying to go to below Team New Zealand's line. So when that next drive comes, I'll try and drive on top and blanket the Spinnaker. A very, very close race here.
So Alinghi now not only positioning themselves for what's happening at the moment, but they're actually thinking 1 or 2 moves ahead, aren't they?
You always got to think ahead in this game. It's always about 1 or 2 steps ahead, and that's where not only the guys in the back of the boat have to think about it, but the foredeck, the guys in the handles. It's a real team thing. You've got to think about that next step and be ready for it. The bow team there, PJ, setting up what looks to be a backup Spinnaker. So we might even see a heel. It's pretty unstable, that Team New Zealand kite there, doesn't it?
Well, is that part of the reason, though, looking at the shoulders,
could be.
That the trailing boat might be getting into and they're not filling it properly? There's a hell of a lot of blokes on the foredeck, I reckon.
Here we go. Okay. Team New Zealand are changing the sail. So what they originally put up may have been for a little bit more wind as they're getting down the bottom of the course, going a little bit lighter. Okay, there we go. Little rip in the Spinnaker. Nothing to be concerned about. Should be fine, but the bow team is moving as quick as possible to put up a replacement.
So they've got 3 up on the bow now. So that's Giro Lomas right out on the boom. Oh, hang on, mate, hang on. One hand for you.
Oh, it's ripped.
It's ripped, it's ripped. Okay. Major problem for Team New Zealand. Can Alinghi pounce? How quickly can Team New Zealand get out of this? How quickly can they get a replacement up?
All boat speeds. This is where the bow team earn their money. They've got to get that old one down, get the new one up. The new one's hoisted, but you've got to get rid of that old one. Look at it dragging behind in the boat there. Yeah, this is real important stuff. This is
just
all cut crew work. Yeah, get rid of it. Get it away from the boat. But look, it's almost going in front of Alinghi. Oh, very mad. Look at Giro on the bow.
Out on the boom.
On the end of the pole, they're trying to hook up the new one.
What are you...
Jeremy Lomas, well, look at the crazy ride he's got out on the Spinnaker boom. Oh, cut it.
Now, if that hits, this could be a penalty, BJ. I wouldn't be surprised to see a protest flag. Still having trouble getting rid of that old sail. Oh, this is really...
Alinghi has got them, Alinghi's got them. This is a heartbreaker. This is a heartbreaker for Team New Zealand. They were onto it, and then all of a sudden, the Spinnaker shredded. And their dreams now are being carted in the water out of Valencia as Alinghi has seized the opportunity. And still Team New Zealand.
They still can't clear that old sail. That's what's given them all the problems, and it's stopping them setting the new one. And we talk about key moments before. Well, this is obviously the key moment. I mean, what bad luck to have the Spinnaker blow up there. We saw the small tear. I actually didn't think that would cause the whole thing to explode like that. But it must have happened in that set.
That is a major problem on such a well-oiled, slick crew. Thousands of hours of training. Out of Valencia in the Hauraki Gulf, and there's a problem getting another one up. It's absolute chaos.
Still can't set this new sail up, PJ. I'm not sure what's wrong. They must have lost one of the lines. I think it was just bad luck. They were setting up the peel to the new sail. Giro went out on the end of the pole, and maybe just as he was about to hook up the new one, there's a third sail.
But
this is the third sail.
Yeah, it is the third. Yep, absolutely.
Somehow they've got to get something up and stay in the race. Got to set this one. Oh no, it's got a wrap.
It's got a wrap, absolutely. This is a fatal wound for Team New Zealand after doing so well on the first leg.
The whole time this is happening, Alinghi has their sail up and they're sailing away. Oh, PJ, it's just gone from bad to worse.
It's just gone from bad to a nightmare. This is awful.
I tell you, I mean, a team like this is
They've got a wine glass on one that they can't get out. And the other thing is, they've just got to let that other one flailing around go.
Obviously really frustrating for the guys in the back of the boat here. I mean, they did everything right. got the start. Boat Sweep team worked hard, got to the corner, great set. Somehow the chute got a little rip in it. It must have had it to set. Okay, here comes the wine glass. Finally that wine glass has come out and they're able to set the sail, but the old one is still up there like a flag.
And that is just costing them dragging.
Wouldn't be surprised to see him just cut the halyard and let it go in the water.
Well, I wonder why they haven't done that some time ago. I do take your point that you could expose yourself to a protest, but... Whew. And meanwhile, Alinghi is out to 150 metres.
Now that's not normal. We don't usually see that. 3 spinnakers it's taken to get one up.
And it's not normal also from Team New Zealand that are so well oiled, so well trained, so slick. There's Matthew Mason there.
I mean, I think
now it's coming down.
Yeah,
finally.
They're just going to drop it in the water, PJ.
Right, for their assessment, let's get back to the team with John.
Well, we've had a bird's eye view of this, Peter and James, and really this has been a disaster right from square one when we noticed that there was a small hole in the spinnaker that they had hoisted for the first downwind leg. They were looking at a peel. We can see Jeremy Lomas out on the bow now. He was under a bit of pressure there. What happened, Cameron?
Yeah, what happened was they had the second chute ready to go up, the new spinnaker. Gero went out to the end of the pole with the tack of the new spinnaker, and just as he's trying to get the tack attached to the end of the pole, the old spinnaker blew out, and it blew the new spinnaker out of his hands. So they had to hoist the second spinnaker with the tack not attached, and that was the sail that we've just seen dropped in the water. So we see here, that's the original sail ripped in two. And while they're doing this, they actually hoist the second one, but the tack was not attached. So the guys in the back of the boat didn't probably realize that the tack wasn't attached. And it goes up. And as we see here, they go for the hoist. Gero's still trying to get it attached there. And we'll see it come out of his hand.
This was it here, yeah, you could see.
Yeah, so he's still got the second one there, and now he's trying to get it going. They end up hoisting the second spinnaker. He can't hold on to it, obviously, until it's attached, so he has to let go of that. So then we have the second spinnaker up there flagging with no tack, which is the part of the sail that attaches to the pole. Then they had to then go to the process of setting up a third spinnaker. That was the delay in all the time. So we see here, here's the...
And that was done in a hurry, of course.
Yes. You know, this is the third one coming up here. And then that was, done in a bit of a hurry, had a bit of a wine glass in it. And, yeah, very, very unfortunate here. Just one of those very, that small tear in the spinnaker is so rare that small a tear would make the spinnaker explode like that.
Yeah.
That is, for me, that's extremely unlucky for Team New Zealand. And they'll be just gutted right now that, they know that realistically this race is gone for them.
Oh boy, this has been painful to watch, really painful as they're coming to the leeward mark. I've just had a text from a very good friend, and he said, as Steve Waugh said to South African Herschel Gibbs in the 03 World Cup, you've just dropped the World Cup. Promoting the point as Team New Zealand just dropped the America's Cup on that move. Over the next few days will tell, because they were so competitive. As Alinghi rounds the leeward mark. This completes the first lap. There was Alinghi trailing by 12 seconds. But the misfortune, the misadventure to this boat and the heartbreaking move, reviving memories of the problems of 2003, but in a different way with gear problems. We'll round the mark. And Team New Zealand round 26 seconds. But it is Team New Zealand still fighting hard. A huge disappointment. It's an arrow through the heart, but boy, oh boy, they are fighting. There's no doubt about it. And they've proved already on the first beat they're competitive going to windward.
Yeah, I mean, look, the important part here is what's happened's happened. You can't do anything to change that. Let's get on with the race. And, you know, I've got full confidence those guys will do that. They're a strong team. Just thinking back to that manoeuvre, I'm sure people are sitting at home probably asking, well, why did that happen? Is that a crew error? Is it a bit of bad luck? For me, it's a little bit of bad luck. I mean, they had a great set. Somehow the chute got a little tear on it. Now, they saw this. Straight away, we saw them setting up the new sail, and unfortunately, it just didn't hang in there long enough to get the new one up. The old one's exploded, and the crew did what they could to get it going. But, look, I mean, that was just very, very unfortunate. There's still a few shifts out on the course, too, and we saw the weather buoys out there. Anything from 123, 117, maybe even a couple of 130s. So, I mean, there's still some shifts, still some gains to be out there. And you see right now that both boats, I think Terry Hutchinson's looking for some separation, trying to find a little something out on the left-hand side to close up that distance. But I almost wondered, by them rounding the other gate, they made a bit of a gain, because initially down the run it was up to, I thought, around 130 metres.
It was.
Well, now we're down to...
the Team New Zealand have made a gain okay.
I think the guys will be fired up. I mean, it's something that's happened. It's not their fault, you know, it's bad luck, and that just makes you fired up. And I think they're going to try and really come back into this race.
They're getting very close to mark number 3. And heading to the finish very soon. 3.3 nautical miles away. That's Peter van Nieuwhuizen, Curtis Blewett on the bow. That's where they're heading to. So around this mark into the 4th and final leg of race 5. So there's the mark getting ready for the hoist. Last time round, Alingi's hoist could be improved on. We'll see if they do. A lot of talking. I wonder if anyone's listening. Mark 3, here comes the hoist for Alinghi. Leading into the final leg. Team New Zealand trailed at Mark 2 by 26 seconds. Much better hoist. Jero Lomas on the bow coming round. It was 26 seconds. It's 24. It's a gain of 2 seconds to Team New Zealand. And of course, Jimmy, to state the obvious, Team New Zealand's inventory of Genicas is limited.
Well, I was just thinking that. I mean, obviously they had to let 2 go in the water. They usually carry quite a few backups, but there is a limit to how many sails you can take. It's a weight limit, and you pretty much split that between your upwind sails, the mainsail and genoas, and obviously your downwind sails. And you know, that's the sort of input you get from the Meteo team. You know, Clouds Batten would be telling the guys what he thinks they will need, you know, wind speed range throughout the race. But yeah, I mean, that's for sure a risk, and probably why we're seeing Team New Zealand with a spinnaker up and Alinghi with the A-sail. They could be out of asymmetrics.
Well, Team New Zealand made a little gain here again, down to 80 metres. They keep chipping away. They've at least put themselves in a position.
Nice present 10.
And Alinghi will be so wary of if it gets any closer than this. They know what Team New Zealand can do, with Ray Davies and Hutchinson watching that weather, calling the shots, because they've, I mean, that was the exciting race which took them to 2-1 ahead.
Oh yes, they'll have those memories still in their head. You know, we're down to 75 metres here for Team New Zealand. They must be on a nice shift coming back here and a nice bit of pressure. Alinghi's still sailing this race quite loose compared to what you may think, but also with the different sails that they have up, they can't really afford to get in a super tight doing a lot of jives with Team New Zealand. And Team New Zealand have a symmetrical spinnaker they're using versus the asymmetric that Alinghi are using. the symmetrical sail is a lot easier to jibe and will be faster to jibe than the Alinghi sail. So if they keep jibe for jibe with Team New Zealand, they will almost definitely make a loss. But, you know, really good gain here for Team New Zealand now. Down to 65 metres. This is less than 2 boat lengths.
Well, we'll have a look at what the body language is like on Alinghi. They're more interested in what lies ahead and the wind coming behind. They know that this gap has closed up as Emirates Team New Zealand 150 metres away from them. It looks as though they're right on their bow there, but the gap is only 60 metres. Not much talk on Alinghi at the moment.
This is some great sailing by Team New Zealand. They've still put themselves basically in the middle of the racetrack. It's possibly a little bit longer on starboard jibe. But Alinghi are going to be really starting to look over their shoulders now as Team New Zealand's taken almost 50 metres out of them down this run so far. We heard them discussing on that second beat. Brad Butterworth wondering if they were sailing. I think he was quite surprised at how much Team New Zealand got back into them at the bottom of that downwind. And he was wondering if they were sailing maybe a little bit slow. So they're not 100% sure of their boat speed. And I think Team New Zealand's really taken them a bit by surprise today.
Well, they certainly matched them, even though Ed Beard said it was only the left-hand pressure that helped Team New Zealand stay in that race in the first leg. Team New Zealand did stay there.
Yeah, but we saw on the second upwind that there was actually a 2-second gain for Team New Zealand. And if Alinghi is a faster boat, you'd expect them in the lead to be able to sail wherever they want. They should be able to extend away and at least put 10 seconds plus on the New Zealanders. You can hear the encouragement coming off the Team New Zealand boat. The boys are really fired up.
This game has closed up again. Now a bit of the pressure goes back on Alinghi. They had pressure on the first, not pressure from the wind, I mean mental and physical pressure on that first beat. Now they got the break in the second leg, and now they can almost feel that hot breath of Team New Zealand. 60 metres.
What we can see Pete Van Nieuwenhuizen doing there on the bow after each one of these jibes. Getting very wet when he's coming back in. He's going out and he's putting the lazy sheet or the windward sheet that's not been used while they're sailing down here on this jibe. He's putting it up on a small batten that is attached to the tack of the sail. And that's just putting in a position so when they do jibe, that sheet is clear to run and won't get caught in any strange places during the manoeuvre. It's just to help, setting up to help their manoeuvre for later on.
All right, we're 2/3 of the way down this final leg, and that is not a big margin. There is still an opportunity for Emirates Team New Zealand to take us through to the finish. Peter Montgomery and James Spittle.
So around 700 metres to the finish. The Team New Zealand have really been eroding in. We could hear over here Brad Butterworth expressing concern off the wind, and we can see why. But are they slow, or is that in this weight of breeze and the sea breeze is Team New Zealand quicker?
There's certainly some positive aspects today for the Kiwis. I mean, the upwind performance, downwind, as we've heard Brad being quite concerned. I mean, obviously opportunities running out now, and I think he's going to take this race, but still some positive things. A lot of people, including myself, certainly surprised at the performance of the boat.
That's the voice of Murray Jones saying let him go. So nearly out to 100 metres now. And that's the interesting point, isn't it? When do the crews have confidence in their own ability and what they're up to, rather than being sucked into the cobweb of the trailing boat trying to trap them? So Alinghi now sailing their own race and they're getting very, very close to the finish. So just around 250 now to the finish. It's been another race for the ages. It's been a race for the wrong reasons for Team New Zealand. It's been a dramatic race 5, a heartbreaker for Team New Zealand after a calamity under Spinnaker on leg 2. Alinghi win race 5 to take the lead in the 32nd America's Cup. But this race will be remembered for the calamity and the crisis Team New Zealand experienced blowing out a Jenica, difficulty hoisting a second one and being hoist a third and losing just over 200 metres and finishing well within that distance at the end. And the time clicks off at 19 seconds. And the crew aboard Team New Zealand will be ruing what might have been. How did that happen? How did it get away from us after leading round the first mark? It is Alinghi 3, Team New Zealand 2. Right, so they are going into the dial-up, but it was late into it, wasn't it?
Yeah, very late here.
Alinghi out to the right.
Pretty nice for Team New Zealand here. Got nice and tight in that dial-up. And this puts the pressure on Alinghi. They're the windward boat, right-of-way boat. Must keep clear under the rules here. So far, though, this is the first time I've really seen Ed really push this dial-up and really stop the boat.
If you get a split tack, I think that'd be really good. You don't have to keep going. You can just take the line by us and come back at them.
That was Ray Davies just talking, get the split tack, take the line bias. I'm happy with that. Not sure of the side, but I think he might be saying if you can get a split tack, get out to the right, we'd be happy with that. So far, though, Ed Baird, pretty nice job. Just controlling Team New Zealand. Almost down to 3 minutes now.
Controlling, just being a little further back. That's how he does it, isn't it?
A little further back. He's got the starboard tack, remember, too, so Team New Zealand, just enough separation there for Ed Baird just to remain there. This will be interesting. Dean Barker, okay, building speed. Probably look to go for a jibe. So far, Ed Baird here doing a nice job, just controlling, keeping the boat slow, but just enough speed so he's got some steerage on the rudder.
If we can get it.
I thought Dean Barker was going to pull the bow down and move off, but he's still holding it there.
115 to 120 to the high 120s.
Spilling the breeze out of the head sails.
Ray Davies talking about a 115 to 120 they're getting on the wind direction where they are. So if that's 120, that means the committee end of the line will be biased and the boats would like to start there. Getting down here, Team New Zealand still in a little bit of trouble here, PJ. Dean's going to have to look to really try and get out of this dial-up.
The course is set to 115. This dial-up's going on. We've only got 2 minutes now. Boy, they've killed some time, but...
Okay, here we go. Dean Barker looking for the jibe now, so he'll get out of this. Set up for the jibe. He goes straight into attack. The time's so low and they're so close to the pin end. They're now really thinking about final approach to the line. Where they want to be, positioning themselves up. Probably look for Alinghi to dive behind Team New Zealand here, try and set up on the stern of the Kiwi boat. Similar to yesterday, you can get on the stern of the other boat. You can really be in a controlling position, stopping them from jibing, stopping them from tacking. Still a good 40 seconds to kill to the start, so plenty of time.
So although Alinghi's getting on the stern, are they close enough though to be able to...
Question here is, can Team New Zealand tackle jibe without risking a penalty? That's the question.
Because they are now down to leeward of the committee boat.
They're in trouble here. Ed Baird's got control. Team New Zealand need to look at something here. Here we go, trying a jibe. Could be penalty here if it's close. Both boats yelling, look at the arms up and they're linging. Protest there, PJ. This could be a penalty, Team New Zealand.
Remember, blue is Team New Zealand, yellow is Alinghi. Blue, Team New Zealand, yellow, Alinghi.
Very risky stuff.
Green flag.
Green flag, okay. That's good news for the Kiwis.
Now we're into the final 30 seconds. Now they've really got to hurry. It looks like Alinghi is going to get the right-hand side as they are starting to wind up. So it's Alinghi out to the right. Team New Zealand are getting right up to the line. They do have to kill some time there, though, as we're coming down now to the final 10 seconds. Now it's Team New Zealand winding up. Alinghi a little further back, up by the committee boat, to start race 6 of the 32nd America's Cup, and Alinghi right up by the committee boat. Team New Zealand further down the line.
Higher, faster. Yeah, nice job from Dean Barker there to get out of that control. Very, very high-risk stuff.
We hear Kevin Hall saying higher and faster. Boy, that was brilliant by Dean Barker to get out of that, because Ed Baird had him for most of the 5-minute sequence.
Yeah, really, really nice job there. It was looking like it was going to be a repeater yesterday, but just able to get that green flag, which was good. Pull that jibe off, just set the main before the umpires saw Alinghi were fouled, but still, though, the thing here is Alinghi got some big separation, PJ, off the start line.
1, 2, 2 to him.
So that means then that they're just a little further out to the right to escape the disturbed airflow coming off Team New Zealand. Team New Zealand out by a couple of metres. It really is bow to bow. The key issue here is the disturbed airflow of the boat out to the left. Team New Zealand, is it going to affect Alinghi? Jimmy thinks the separation is maybe just a little bit too much.
Looks like Alinghi can hang there. And I know both boats were fighting for the right there. They both thought the right-hand side is a little better. We saw the race committee move the top mark to the right-hand side, set up for the 115. Now I think we're in these 120 wind directions. I think Team New Zealand really got to try and close it up, bring down that separation. I'm just fascinated here at how even the boat speeds are. It's not a lot of angle. Well, that's a good shot there. Look at that. That's the boats definitely closing gauge. Team New Zealand sailing a little higher, a little closer to the wind. And you can see the virtual eye now down to 8 metres.
Boy, they are getting way out to the left-hand touchline as well. This is fascinating and through compelling stuff again in race 6.
This is race shift.
Nice try.
5 metres. Oh, and really the separation now is down a lot.
I think the Kiwis will do this. I think they're just going to be able to force Team Alinghi to attack. Look at that. A lot closer than where they were at the start. Bow forwards. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Alinghi attack.
Here goes Alinghi now. Well predicted, Jimmy. Excellent. So Alinghi now attacking away. What is Team New Zealand going to do? Attack with them? Or will they persist in going out towards
12 and 2.
The port lay line, the left-hand touch line?
Probably still got 2-3 minutes to play with, you know, out there. But I wouldn't see them split too much just yet. You know, I think both teams are worried about the right-hand side. I think they just try and get enough separation between them and Alinghi where they feel comfortable, they can set up, sail their boat, and really try and hang in there. This race is very, very close.
So the pendulum now has gone to Team New Zealand, but we should say you lose, what, 25 metres in attack?
Lose a little,
20.
Lose a little in attack. So it says New Zealand now, but remember, Alinghi has done 1 extra tack.
So it is interesting that Alinghi now is breaking out to the right there on port. Meanwhile, Team New Zealand are holding on to starboard, still persisting to go out to the port lay line, out to the left.
Team New Zealand just tacking there. Happy with the separation. Maybe even got a little lefty there, so Terry Hutchinson telling the guys to stand by and tack over. You can see the virtual line just going back a little bit to Alinghi now.
Already caught.
See how things settle out once they get the boat back up to speed.
Yeah, take it off, you know.
Okay, great.
So virtual eye now, the pendulum goes back to Alinghi at around 25 metres.
Literally a little higher than that.
A little higher, that's Murray Jones's voice.
So, Peter, this has become a similar sort of tactic now. We're getting straight line races. Certainly for the last 3, hasn't it been? We've seen so few tacks in any of these first legs.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a trial of strength lining up on boat speed. It has been enthralling, really. But there are tactics involved in that, in terms of the separation, trying to get your bow out, as we tried to explain, and also for Team New Zealand to close the separation so they can make sure that the distilled airflow coming off their boat is affecting, or was affecting on the other tack, of course, Alinghi, and Alinghi doing their best to stay free of that. So there's so many things going on here, and as well, they're thinking ahead, the next 2 or 3 moves ahead. The minds and faces we're looking at the moment are not just concerned with now, they're actually further thinking up the track to the next move.
Here we've got Jeremy Lomas. What he's doing here is he's bringing one of the halyards down from the top of the mast. For this first upwind leg, they mouse the halyards out, so they actually attach a very small line that we saw him pulling down to the halyard, and they pull that up the mast. And it's a gain in 2 areas. One is that you replace a line of 10 mil with a line of 3 or 4 mil to reduce the windage in the mast, and also you're getting more weight down from the mast. You're actually pulling the majority of that big thick 10 mil halyard down into out of the rig, which is again helps the riding moment of the boat. Again, all these tiny little details, something you could never test the performance difference, but it does make you go faster.
So distance to the first mark, we can't be that far away.
You've got a really
from
nice,
being a minute 10 to the port lay line.
Really nice gain for Team New Zealand here. They've got a little left shift. Well, Alinghi's looks to be in a little lighter patch, and big gains here for Team New Zealand.
So just over a kilometre to the first mark. This has been an excellent leg for Emirates Team New Zealand. Remember that port entry to the start box. Ian Barker took a bit of a risk, but he managed to get out of the grips of Ed Baird and started with speed. And the two of them have just dragged their way up towards the port ley line. Only one tack all the way up there.
Yeah, this is a really significant phase in the match right now. This last couple of minutes, there's been a split in the breezes. Alinghi has been in a lighter right-hand shift, while Team New Zealand still kept pretty good pressure, and they're in the lefty. And we've seen them go from 10 metres behind to 30 metres ahead. And they've opened the separation up from 300 metres. Look at the distance here between the two boats has opened up. This has been a huge gain for Team New Zealand right at this time. They've gone from 300 metres to 370 metres. And right now, if Alinghi tacked, they probably wouldn't be able to get to Team New Zealand. Team New Zealand would be able to cross in front of them. So,
be advised, there's a race committee vessel in the vicinity of the windward mark, displaying flag Charlie, change of course. The course to the gate will be 290. The marks will be yellow.
Big lefty up the track, and look at the lead that Team New Zealand have got now. From what was a little, 5 metres here, 5 metres there, to all of a sudden left shift, 15 degrees, and Team New Zealand suddenly with a 3-boat length lead.
So this is fascinating, a completely new dimension today. Yes, it is the sea breeze for only the second day in the 32nd America's Cup, but it is about 10 or 11 knots in contrast to 15 to 19 knots yesterday. Been a trial of strength, but Team New Zealand have backed their hunch, and they're up to the left, and they're extending. That's the key point. We're wondering, was it the weather team that made the call, or was it just simply, as you predicted, Jimmy, before, that because so much was changing, the afterguard have actually got to go back to the way they were brought up sailing, get their head out of the boat, because the fundamental rules these kids are taught, as kids they were taught in Optimus and then into lasers, still apply on these big beasts.
That's right. I mean, look, you only get the weather information 5 minutes to the start. the weather guys make their call. Sometimes they'll say, hey, look, we're not too sure ourselves. Go with what you see. And I think that's what happened. Team New Zealand obviously came off the start line, probably saw a little out the left, knew they had to get rid of Alinghi, had to close down the separation, had to force them to tack. And in doing so, I've really extended out again. And look, here we see another little gain up to 80 metres, just in splitting out to the left-hand side here.
Well, I think it's important to emphasise also that sailors on these two boats and all of the Louis Vuitton Regatta are not just robots having their strings pulled by the weatherman ashore. These people are brilliant sailors with wonderful backgrounds and can think for themselves. And today, the Afterguard and Team New Zealand have been doing that as they come to mark number 1 in race 6 of the 32nd America's Cup. And after the heartbreaking disappointment of yesterday, Team New Zealand really have bounced back. They are leading at Mark 1 as the Louis Vuitton clock is ticking against defender Ingi. So here comes the set from Team New Zealand, and it ticks off at 4 seconds. So a very productive final stage of leg number 1 to Team New Zealand, who are leading over Alinghi, going into leg number 2 of race. Team New Zealand's lead now is down to just over 60 metres. Remember, it was close to 100. I mean, the important thing to emphasise here is just where the breeze. I mean, when you're talking, what did you say, 115 to 125? That's a wide. That's 10 degrees. That's a wide span, really, isn't it? Compared to the 3-4 degree span, 5 degree maybe going upwind, Jimmy. So, hell, anything can happen downhill.
Yeah, big gains and losses downwind, and you'll see it go back and forwards a little. You saw 100 metres to the Kiwis at the top. Now Alinghi coming back, closing it down a little. It's, you know, obviously the boat behind benefits from receiving the wind first before the lead boat, the opposite of upwind. Upwind, the lead boat gets the breeze first. Now, PJ, what I'm seeing here is Alinghi going forwards here. I think Team New Zealand are very, very close to having their wind blanketed by Alinghi. So once again, boat speed team on full alert here, really trying to keep that air clear, keep the bow forward of Alinghi so they've got the fresh air coming onto the sails.
Righto, Jimmy, get ready to give an aerial, another sailing lesson when we get a wide aerial shot, and then you'll be able to explain what Alinghi's trying to do and the position they're almost in to be able to put their airflow down.
Behind us here, only about 2 lengths. They're just as good on the other drive.
Now that voice is Murray Jones. Now here's a good. We can see, and Dave Snackenberg might be able to get his virtual eye just where the distilled airflow is coming off Alinghi.
Yeah, that was a great shot.
And what effect? Alinghi is trying to do. Now here comes a jibe from Alinghi as they're starting to make things happen. They definitely have made some inroads. Maybe 20 metres, could be 30. And it's down to just over 50 metres now.
One Sport live and exclusive with this America's Cup coverage of race 6. The margin has gone out to over 100 metres, back to about 90. And while you've been away, Ray Davies has been very positive over the last couple of minutes, talking about good pressure. I like this here, Terry. But still, this margin's, there's not much in it. Now, let's have a look at where they are on the course and the angle they've taken from mark number 1, Ben.
Yeah, this has been a very good run for Team New Zealand. They've just held their lead very comfortably, doing all the safe options tactically, and the last jibe on starboard, they had very good pressure, and they've been looking faster the whole way down. I've been watching the VMG figures, and consistently faster to Team New Zealand because they've been in good pressure the whole way. They've pretty much played it perfectly right now.
So it's encouraging news from Ben Morrison-Jack, who's working with the virtual eye. And Team New Zealand, this time yesterday, you'll recall that they had been in a position of being in front at 12 seconds at the first mark. Today it's 14, but then they had that horror 4 minutes which saw the lead change hands. But right now, you see the VMG there, but showing Switzerland slightly faster. But the margin is still around about 80 metres. Been a good run for Emirates Team New Zealand. Cameron, they're looking in top shape at the moment, but just see that margin. It's not stretching out at all, is it?
No, it's not stretching out, and the important part here is that they're in the perfect position, perfect match racing leading position right now. They're ahead and to leeward of the Alinghi's line. They can match. If Alinghi jibe, they could easily jibe simultaneously and still have their clear wind on the other jibe. They can do whatever they want, which is perfect positioning here by Dean Barker and the crew.
And Team New Zealand will choose what side they think is going to suit them best. Jimmy and I are retaining the thing. Maybe the breeze is going back more to the right. Anyway, more on that later once they get round the mark.
Lingy here may even follow Team New Zealand into the same mark.
Team New Zealand spike their chute. Down comes the Jenica.
It's going to be a split, PJ.
Mark 2. Race 6, and it's split marks here at the end of the first lap. And it's down to 11 seconds. So Alinghi has made a gain of 3. It was 14 seconds at Mark 1. It's 11 seconds. And we'll get Jimmy to expand on it. Team New Zealand has gone out to the left, going back up the course. And meanwhile, it is now Alinghi that has gone out to the right. Interesting that Team New Zealand have decided they had what option they wanted to. Because we were asking Rich Reichelsdorfer, our skipper here on North Star, what the latest readings were from the top of the mark. And what Rich told us was indicating maybe that the breeze is swinging back to the right a little bit. And Ben and Dave will be able to help you with that with graphics from the boys further up on the course, and they'll be able to tell you that as well. Team New Zealand, meanwhile, have tacked. They're on port as well. So both boats now are breaking right, and it is Team New Zealand with an advantage of just over 40 metres. And interesting to see now that it's 125, 117, 112. All right, so Jimmy, what do you make of it in terms of what side may be favoured, what side's best?
Still very tricky, and if you look, a 105 to a 125, that's 20 degrees of shift. So this is going to be a real minefield for the tacticians and the strategists try and work their way up the track. Great call by Adam Bichel at the bottom of the course there. Nice, 35-minute gain here. Very, very nice. We saw a shot before of Richard Meacham down below in the sewer of the boat, packing the sail. That's a sail they're probably thinking they may use again for the run. So the mid-bow will go below, start packing it. This is on board Alinghi, same deal. We've got the white spinnaker there. Curtis Blue will be down there packing the sail, getting it ready just in case they need it for the run. If the conditions stay like this, both boats will probably use very similar sails.
Jimmy, the separation's gone from 400 to 480.
Yeah, very nice here. Team New Zealand just continuing to gain, or as we say, the rich getting richer in this situation. A little bit more pressure, a little bit more shift. Alinghi, not a lot they can do. They've got as much separation as I think they'll get. Probably hanging it out on the right-hand side, just trying to get a little bit of a shift back to the right to get into the race. But so far since the gate, it's gone all Team New Zealand's way.
Well, we did see separation of close to 500 metres. And Alinghi were happy to hold that for a while, clearly looking for some advantage out there. But now, as Cameron has said, they're on their way back to close the gauge, 150 metres. They tack back. We'll see Team New Zealand's reaction to this. How long will they wait to tack in front of them?
Now, it's definitely been a gain here for Alinghi. They've gained a lot as they've come back in. They seem they're in a bit of a right-hand shift. So Team New Zealand just going for a nice tight to leeward lee bow, and Alinghi will have to tack away immediately here. So that was a pretty nice gain.
I'll be heartened by that.
Now the interesting choices now are made in the tactics. How long does Team New Zealand allow them to speed build and come back. How long does Alinghi go? I can't imagine Alinghi going to go too far here. They're probably going to just get up to speed and tack back again because they know they're getting close to being out on that lay line. Yep, and here we go, Alinghi tacking and Team New Zealand tacking. So we've got Alinghi trying to make gains in the right, but also trying not to get forced out of the right-hand corner. And Team New Zealand, again, trying to make gains in the left, but also trying to bounce Alinghi out to that right-hand corner as quickly as they can, because the earlier they can get Alinghi out there, the bigger gain they can make coming to the top mark. This has been a bit more of a gain from Alinghi here.
Yeah. Yes, it does. Well, we saw that big separation. We saw at the mark rounding, the second mark rounding, that they decided to attack different gates. Let's just review this leg. Well, hang on, we might just wait a moment and see what happens with this situation here. Emirates Team New Zealand going to attack right in front of Alinghi, but my word, that advantage is closing all the time. There's no room for error here. We'll go back now to the mark rounding and Ben to work us through this with Virtual Eye.
Yeah, the boats chose different marks here with Alinghi heading out to the right of the course, and it was probably easy to see with the guys up the rig that there might have been a little right-hand shift, but so New Zealand followed Alinghi out to the right, and initially they got quite a good little, maybe a 5-degree shift, which is why we saw the lateral separation increase for quite a while, and that was all good for Team New Zealand. But then slowly the breeze has clicked back to the right a little, and Brad Butterworth been very patient in waiting for the shift, and when it came he chose to tack back, and that's why he's able to have closed the gauge a little, because the wind has gone right by about 3 or 4 degrees, so it's all on now.
Certainly all on. Back with live pictures now as we see that great shot of Emirates Team New Zealand, and they are very, very anxious at the moment. I would say 19 metres. Alinghi probably just sensing that this is an opportunity. They've closed up nicely.
Yeah, this is a, Team New Zealand have got to be able to tack in a position tight enough to Alinghi where Alinghi keeps on having to tack away. And we've seen in the past that Team New Zealand have been very strong in their tacking, but this breeze has just clicked a little bit right. Maybe there's a little bit of pressure on the right, and Alinghi have actually made a gain and now managed to separate off to windward of Team New Zealand and 26 metres ahead. The key part of that's not so important right now. The key, this is just like off the start line. The key is for if Team New Zealand can get up to Alinghi a little bit and force them to tack away again. If they can do that, then Team New Zealand will still be strong.
So Alinghi leading in to the top mark.
There needs to be a big reason for us to join.
Yeah. Could be charging more lands.
Charge expensive.
How far to go?
Team New Zealand following in. So you can see they're not only working on getting the rest of the speed done, but thinking ahead and what they're going to do with their hoist. Mark 3, race 6. And Alinghi lead round Mark 3. The clock is ticking and it stops at 16. So from minus 11 to plus 16, it is Alinghi leading. Team New Zealand is close enough to do some damage there. It's under 70 metres now. Team New Zealand are closing in. They really are closing in on this light air. Fasten your seatbelts, folks. Team New Zealand really are getting closer.
I think it's all about the jibing, PJ. Here we go again. Outside jibe. Alinghi. That sail just doesn't have enough pressure to get around. They're really having to work it around. It's just not as smooth. You know, the flow takes a little longer to attach.
We're inside 60 metres. Team New Zealand are making huge inroads. Are they going to be close enough, though, to be able to shadow and get on the top of Alinghi? Dave and Ben will be able to give us a handle in terms of the distilled air flow. Team New Zealand really are closing down. They're inside to 25 metres. Oh.
Yep, this will be all on down here, PJ.
This is just sensational. Already, this America's Cup, the 32nd edition, is the most competitive apart from 1983. When the Cup left after 132 years. Team New Zealand have got down to 30 metres. What can they do now to advance another boat length to get right up there?
Now, key moment next time for me is going to be this jibe, PJ. Now, we've been talking about it all along down this run, how Team New Zealand doing the inside jibes and gaining. Now, I've got them in a position here on this next jibe to really make a gain, and I think it's going to be... I think Alinghi has to change to inside jibing if they want to match. Otherwise, I think the Kiwis have got a real chance of making a pass before
Lion Howard, explain. Take the folks with you. Folks across New Zealand are hanging on your words, Jimmy. Explain. Expand.
Okay, outside jibe, like we've talked about, back of the sail has to blow all the way around the luff. Now, this is fine in 11, 12 knots and up. As soon as you get under 10 knots, you start inside jibing. Back of the sail goes inside. Here's an example. Look, back of the sail coming behind the spinnaker. There it goes there, instead of in front of the spinnaker like Alinghi is doing. Now, that is a lot smoother, a lot faster when you get down to 7, 8 knots. Let's see what Alinghi does here. Will they extend out? The other thing that comes into play, PJ, is the times and the geometry and the course. How much room have Team New Zealand got on port there to the left-hand side? Alinghi now electing to... Thinking about a jibe, no. Pete Van Nieuwenhausen comes back off the bow. Alinghi like the pressure.
900 metres, inside 800. We're down to 800 metres now. 780 metres to the finish.
Okay, Alinghi setting up for a jibe, I think. Here we go, outside jibe on Alinghi. So the back of the sail this time blowing around the front. Definitely a little slower doing that, but have Alinghi got a little bit more pressure by holding on that left-hand side of the course. They've really protected it down the run. We heard Murray Jones talk about he likes the left.
500 metres to the finish now.
It's actually a little surprised Team New Zealand jibe back there. I thought they might have waited and really tried to match them, and looks like they may have lost some here by doing that.
Well, it was down to 25, regularly inside 50 metres, but now it's gone back over 100 metres. And in this race, that's a mile. That's very comfortable.
I was a little surprised, PJ, that the Kiwis right back there. I thought they were in a fantastic opportunity to just hang in there, wait a little longer, and then trying to use that jibe technique they've got to their advantage. Now this is really giving Alinghi a nice little cushion, and I'm sure they're breathing a little easier now. Very close to ley line now. The opportunity's running out big time here.
We'll be inside the final 500 metres. And compared to what we've seen for most of the day, Alinghi have got a cushion of a huge distance of 100 metres. This has been a magnificent boat race, like the others. It's 400 metres to the finish. And Alinghi are looking comfortable now. And Team New Zealand are running out of distance. Inside 300 metres now. After a compelling race for the memories, taking this America's Cup to among the most competitive in 157 years, where Team New Zealand led for the first 2 legs and looked commanding and early in leg 3. Alinghi were patient and benefited from a favourable shift to pass Team New Zealand and lead at Mark 3 and then defend on the final run home. Alinghi beat Team New Zealand and go to match point in the 32nd America's Cup. It's Alinghi 4, Team New Zealand 2. The defender now needs just one more win to retain the America's Cup and keep it in Europe. Team New Zealand needs 3. What a stunning race. And Team New Zealand, for the second day in succession, will reflect on what might have been, but for different reasons.
Yeah, what a tough race for the Kiwis. Did everything right. Controlled off the start line. Got out of it. Almost got a penalty. Dean Barker took a bit of risk, but it worked. They got out to the left-hand side and led in the first 2 legs of the race.
Jimmy, 28 seconds really doesn't do the race justice, how competitive it was, how the fortunes fluctuated and changed, how difficult it was for the afterguards, how exciting and pulsating it was.
Yeah, I mean, what a race. I mean, it's just been a fantastic series. We just have not seen this. Didn't see it in the semi-finals. Didn't see it in the finals, I can personally tell you that. And now we're just seeing so many lead changes, so many opportunities out on the racetrack. And the boats definitely seem quite even, but look, it's not over yet. No doubt Team New Zealand will go back, talk about today, good and the bad. Tomorrow it's a must-win, PJ. Here we go here. Going for the jibe.
Not too much tap, Brad.
No, I don't think he can do it. Okay, so good stuff so far for Team New Zealand. Into a controlling position. Ed Baird on the ropes at the moment, has to do something. I think we're going to see him go for the spectator fleet, PJ.
Well, that's where he's heading right for us. Another 100 metres or so and we could jump on board both boats.
Still got to come quite a long way, though, to get out here.
Yep. There's nothing like the spectator fleet we saw the other day when they sought refuge in that.
I think both boats in this wind speed would be fighting for the right-hand side. And the big question is, how much do you have to pay for it? If you can get an even start, well, no question the right is better. But if it all comes down to how much you have to pay, and we saw Alinghi in the race where the Kiwis ripped their spinnaker. Paid
3
too
minutes.
much.
Right, so it's Alinghi now bringing the bow up. Now Team New Zealand are following them. One of the things Ed Baird could do maybe is do a few circles to try and...
1 minute 40 to kill.
Yeah, Dean Bark here just letting Ed circle around. This definitely tells me that the Kiwis are looking for the right-hand side. Probably trying to set up for a split tack, split out to the right-hand side of the course. Ed, on the other hand, just trying to get out of this controlling position. I think he's just thinking right now, get off the line, even.
Right, we're coming up to 2 minutes now. Team New Zealand have been doing very well now. So the final couple of minutes is going to be vital. Well, really, the next minute will be vital. That's where they lay their beds.
I like what Team New Zealand are doing here. I think full control above the ley line. Look for Team New Zealand attack here. Wing attacks, Team New Zealand follows straight away here. I think Ed Baird, high risk at the moment. Still plenty of time to kill, I think.
Team New Zealand haven't got the overlap though. They were trying to get that, but gee, they're still pretty close to the line, and the time left, they could easily get to the line. They've got to scrub some time off.
Dean Bark attacking immediately to leeward of Alinghi.
And now here comes another quick tack coming back from Alinghi to try and shake off. And they're also trying to kill time as well, Jimmy.
Big question here is that lay line for the race committee. If Team New Zealand can get up, keep Alinghi to windward and hold them above the race committee lay line, they can do the full shutout start.
It'll be in huge trouble. Shutout, we'll think of a line coming down from the committee boat. If we get an aerial shot, you'll see a line coming down from the aerial. And will the bow there of Alinghi actually take them outside the committee boat, or are they inside into the final minute now? There's the committee boat. Now you can see it. It looks like Alinghi may be just inside.
This, to me, is looking very, very good for Team New Zealand, PJ. Must tack here. Team New Zealand must tack straight over it.
Well, if they can, then they've got them. They've got them shut out, surely, Jimmy.
Must tack. Little delay there.
Now they're coming back and they're lining up to line down the start.
They're just let off the hook there. I really thought there was an opportunity.
Right, they're winding up now for the final 20 seconds. Certainly, Team New Zealand were in a position to cut Alinghi outside the lay line from the committee boat. Here we are to the final 10 seconds. Really winding up. Both bowmen calling their skippers up. Go for it. The start. Race 7. 32nd America's Cup.
So mark, yellow first.
Team New Zealand down to Lewin ahead.
Alinghi coming off the right-hand side there and getting in this direction, what I think is the favoured side. I really thought they were in trouble there, and just wondered if Dean Barker could have put a little bit more pressure on there.
By cutting them out to the right in that final 90, 60 seconds.
Exactly, that last minute.
Past the line under the committee boat. Anyway, it didn't happen. We'll look at that later. But now the key thing is to see what happens now as they hunker down in this breeze. And Virtual Eye giving it to Team New Zealand by a metre. It's bow to bow. Now it is Alinghi out by a metre. It's nothing in it. It's an absolute bow to bow and a trial of strength. And currently we've got over 16 knots here on North Star. It's fresh out there. Well, fresh by what we've had so far.
Bow-to-bow race like this, the right-hand side is certainly advantaged. You have the right-of-way tack, the starboard-hand side. And if Alinghi think that they can't live there, if they start to lose metres on the Virtual Eye, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them tack over and get to the right-hand side. But right now, just looking off the North Star, they seem to be hanging in there, and I wonder if they're getting a little bit of a right shift.
This has really come down to a regatta of seizure chances. Here goes Alinghi tacking away.
Yeah, good sign for Team New Zealand there. Able to force Alinghi off, but took quite a bit of time. Certainly, boat's probably holding for 4 or 5 minutes, I think, off the start line there on starboard tack before they could force Alinghi to get onto port. Virtual Eye showing New Zealand 20 metres ahead, but you must remember that Alinghi have tacked and have paid a penalty for that. Team New Zealand must also do the same.
So round figures, you lose between 20 and 25 metres in attack, depending?
Yeah, about 20, 25 metres around a boat length, maybe a little more. But I think once Team New Zealand tack, it will be very, very similar to how it was before. Probably a few metres either way.
Well, the key issue is now Alinghi's tacked away. Would it be in Team New Zealand's interest to go with them? Because if you allow this, remembering Alinghi will come on the hand advantage. In other words, they're going to have right of way. So it's been a fascinating start to race number 7 of the 32nd America's Cup. During the start sequence in the final 90 seconds, it looked as though Dean Barker and Team New Zealand had the opportunity on port to take Alinghi outside the line below the committee boat. But they came back on starboard. It was a slingshot start, and it's been even from then on. And we see Alinghi is tacked off, but Virtual Eye has Team New Zealand in front just as they work out to the right.
First cross of the 7th race of the 32nd America's Cup. We're live here on One Sport. And is Emirates Team New Zealand advanced enough? Liebau. Brad Butterworth waited a long time, Tom, but picked a very good moment to come back onto starboard tack.
Yeah, well, he would have probably preferred a nice little right-hand shift so he could come back a bit closer to them, but Ron Vila was telling him how much room he had, and you want to be able to do 2 or 3 tacks before you get shut down on the ley line, because it can be a long, miserable ride up that starboard tack ley line if you're sailing on the gas of the other yachts, and so they'll be looking to mix it up a wee bit. And that wind direction seemed quite fair, and the Kiwis were comfortably able to make a lee bow stick. And in fact, I think if they'd wanted to, they could have slid across if they wanted to the right.
Okay, so they were right in the middle of the course, weren't they, at that stage? And you see that advantage line still with New Zealand of a boat length and a half. They tack back and Alinghi respond. Now, it was in this situation on leg 3 of the previous race where just a little bit of pressure allowed Alinghi to get in front, wasn't it? So we've got to watch this with a great deal of interest.
Here goes Alinghi now.
So Alinghi tacks now, and Team New Zealand will follow them in. So now the pendulum will go from 14 metres, 16 metres to Team New Zealand. They're above the ley line, remember. And Alinghi's just got their bow out. So in this position, it will be Alinghi who's around the top mark first. Boy, oh boy, this is close. What pressure it is on the crews in this weight of breeze.
See a luff here from Ed Baird.
Yeah, it's a luff up. Right, I'll explain a defensive move. Expand, Jimmy.
Okay, so the boat on the right here, Alinghi, the leeward boat, has right of way. The windward boat, which is Emirates Team New Zealand, as windward boat, must keep clear. So we saw Alinghi there do a luff Team New Zealand up. See the umpire signal there, that means overlap. The boats are overlapped, and Alinghi has full luffing rights. Now, if I was Ed Baird, I would slow the game down, luff Team New Zealand up, and try and get them stopped. I think this is a big opportunity for Alinghi here to take a little jump for the downwind run here. This will be real interesting.
So the defence is on from Alinghi to try and slow down Team New Zealand out to the left.
See Alinghi building speed here. Team New Zealand getting stuck in irons.
And Team New Zealand, remember they had the overlap. Watch that sign soon. There won't be an overlap. And they're clear now. So that was a splendid defensive move by Ed Baird. Now they're in the zone. Expand, Jimmy, before the hoist.
In the zone, 2 battling zone around the top mark. Alinghi in there, clear. No overlap.
Mark 1, race 7 of the America's Cup. It has been a thriller on this first leg. Team New Zealand leading for most of the way. Super tactics, brilliant defence by Alinghi. Totals up that they lead by 7 seconds. Now here comes the hoist from Team New Zealand.
The textbook sets by both boats. To the bow team taking down the headsails now. Obviously don't need those until the next upwind leg. Even though Ed Baird was able to jump out probably about 2 lengths, still Team New Zealand in a very powerful position. See them just stuck in one of the quarter waves behind Alinghi, and in a great position to attack down this run.
So Dean Barker full of concentration. This is a very tense moment for both these teams. Emirates Team New Zealand, a pretty good start. Dean Barker did the job well again, and my word, he's impressed everyone over here, and he had his detractors. Don't make any doubt about that, but he has really shown that he's a class act. Now we're seeing whether he and Terry Hutchinson and his crew can get Emirates Team New Zealand into a position where their wind might just affect Alinghi.
I think it is, you know. Alinghi look a little bit awkward there. See the spinnaker just collapsed again. Kiwis really positioned their boat nicely, and even though Alinghi's she's going to have air behind, but only after the Kiwis move forward, almost to a position where they would have overtaken. Then the boats will settle down and go at equal speed.
Yes, they're all over Alinghi at the moment and affecting the spinnaker. We can see what's happening. This could be a vital moment in this race. Let's go to Martin Tasker and Peter Lester.
To windward of Alinghi. Alinghi now in a defensive mode. Boats on the ley line. is Brad Butterworth. If anyone can defend the lead, it'll be Butterworth, expert in that area. Boats about. Alinghi's still ahead. The Kiwis in the position, if they could soak down to put the wind shadow to affect the angle that Alinghi are sailing at. All it will take will be one wave. The overlap, boats are overlap. That's the light, the overlap light that we have is also on the boats. That's how the teams know that the overlap rule is coming into force.
And they also seem to be virtually on the ley line. Now, this is where we're going to be hearing that call, hold your proper course. Explain.
Now, the thing to look at here, we'll come back to hold your proper course, is to look at the stability of the sails. It's a surefire sign if one of the sails, and I'd be looking at Alinghi, starts to look a bit soft in terms of the pressure in the sail are being affected by the windward boat. So Emirates Team New Zealand, in terms of the advantage line, now are rolling over the top of Alinghi. Emirates Team New Zealand now take the lead on the second leg in this vital race. The New Zealanders are in a must-win situation. So the afterguard of Emirates Team New Zealand have done a fabulous job to roll down with Alinghi under Spinnaker on the second leg.
So now, which way are they going to go? Here comes the drop, the spike from Team New Zealand. And they are going to take the left-hand gate looking up the course. And that will leave the right-hand gate to Alinghi. So Team New Zealand lead halfway through the race. Remember, Alinghi led by 7 seconds here at mark number 2. It is Team New Zealand leading by 14 seconds.
A little surprised there to see Team New Zealand give Alinghi the right-hand gate. I mean, the obvious explanation is that maybe the gate on that side that Team New Zealand rounded had an advantage. It was set for a wind direction and was a little further upwind, which gave them an advantage. I mean, definitely it was the better manoeuvre for the crew, but honestly, I'm a little surprised that they didn't go the right-hand gate.
Well, we're getting information from our director, David Turner, from Dave Snackenberg, our virtual eye expert. There was an 11-metre bias to the left-hand mark, which reinforces the point you make, Jimmy. But Alinghi are out to the right. And we have seen the power of the right earlier on, but whether or not Team New Zealand can nail that home, because wow, they have got out to, they're between 50 and 60 metres at the moment, and that's going to be an advantage. Can they nail that home? Because they had the chance to go to the right regardless of the bias, and we saw how powerful that was. We've heard sailors say for years the power of the right, meaning how we saw Alinghi exploit that because Team New Zealand could not cross in the final stages leading up to one.
Expect to see Alinghi come back at Emirates Team New Zealand. These very short metres up now working towards the starboard ley line will be crucial. Alinghi there just bobbled in a big wave, but now we can see the bow of Alinghi zoning in onto the stern of Emirates Team New Zealand. That's a fabulous shot as Emirates Team New Zealand leave our tack. Alinghi straight into the tack. The boats are overlapped. So Alinghi are coming right back at Emirates Team New Zealand as we work towards the starboard ley line. Two minutes and 5 seconds to the starboard ley line. So Alinghi have just on 2 minutes. 2/3 up the buck, up the windward beat. But Alinghi, who are pushing Emirates Team New Zealand very hard for yet another lead change. Can the Kiwis defend as Alinghi come back yet again on starboard. Again, the intersection of the boats. Alinghi have a piece of Emirates Team New Zealand. The New Zealanders are pushing hard, coming in from the left. Alinghi this time look a bit more bow forward than what they were. Now Emirates Team New Zealand go into their squeeze, a delayed tack, but Alinghi are a little bit bow forward. Alinghi not surviving, they were straight out of there, but the Swiss boat looks to be tacking a little bit better up the second windward beat.
The numbers tumble down on the New Zealand lead as Alinghi really do squeeze. What an appropriate word that is, because they're squeezing everything out of their boat, everything out of this match as they continue to attack the Kiwis up this penultimate leg. And could this be the penultimate leg of the 32nd America's Cup? The Kiwis are doing all they can to stop it, the Swiss all they can to make it happen, to hang on to the cup with this deciding race. Match point they're on, let's not forget, as if we could.
Boy, there's going to be some action coming here at the top mark. So here comes Team New Zealand tacking now.
This is going to be very interesting, PJ. Alinghi have the starboard tack here. The Team New Zealand, both boats dialed down here. This could result in a penalty for one of the boats here.
Alinghi's on starboard.
Oh, expect the flag, there's a flag.
And they've forced Team New Zealand away. We heard Brad Butterworth say, aim for his stern.
Slam dunk here by Alinghi.
And Alinghi is right on top of them. The lead changes again.
Question here is, can they lay the mark on Port Tack? Oh, yellow flag. Team New Zealand. Penalty, Team New Zealand.
Team New Zealand has got a penalty against it. Right, we'll talk about that in a minute. Just let's get around the top mark, though, for a start. Alinghi has got their bow out in front. Alinghi will lead around the top mark. So the lead changes for the fourth time. Here we go to mark number 3. Into the last leg of the race. Team New Zealand led at the last mark by 14 seconds after running and gunning Alinghi down. And it stops at 11 seconds. And it's Alinghi who are leading. Right. Now let's just quickly go back. We'll just wait till Team New Zealand hoist and get underway. And we'll talk about what they've got to do. We saw they were quicker downhill. But Team New Zealand have got a penalty outstanding now.
Tyres approaching the top mark. The starboard boat Alinghi bore away and held her course. New Zealand bore away to go below her. She didn't keep clear, subsequently Alinghi had to avoid her, and it was a penalty on yellow Team New Zealand.
Righto, to expand on that, Jimmy Spittle.
Going forward, Don.
Yeah, I wonder if that was the race just there, PJ. We talked about how there could be some fireworks up the top. Alinghi on the right-hand side, starboard hand, right of way. Team New Zealand tack. We're ahead without a bow. Had to do a big duck to get down. We see it here. Here goes Team New Zealand tacking over onto Port Tack. Alinghi puts the bow down straight away. Team New Zealand bow down, trying to get below Alinghi. It's not enough. If the boats held their course right there, there will be a collision. Look for Alinghi here to luff and protest, and that's a penalty, Team New Zealand. And look, PJ, I think it's going to be very difficult to come back from that.
Absolutely. Well, we heard Brad Butterworth setting up for it, and really Terry Hutchins should have been aware of it. Frankly, Team New Zealand would have been better to follow the leader around the top mark and not expose themselves to that manoeuvre.
Yeah, just watching the onboard shot there, guys, with the hands in the air. From what sounded by the umpires, a very, very clear decision. And certainly from the helicopter shot, it did look like it was a fair call. As you said, PJ, the other option was to simply follow Alinghi around the top mark, get into that attacking position and try and make the pass down the bottom, which they did the run before.
Well, they've done that before, and surely Team New Zealand must have known they're going to be exposed there and target practice, because certainly the aerial shot was conclusive, and there was no doubt that that was a penalty.
I think Team New Zealand may have been a little further forwards or up the ladder rung, you know, closer to the top than maybe they had first thought when they tapped. just couldn't get the bow down enough to clear Alinghi, who are approaching on starboard tack. It's very easy to be critical here, sitting here, but certainly an error there that will be very, very costly. Yeah, definitely less than 5 knots. I mean, I think there's 0 knots at the race committee. I think it's offshore.
Rich Reichelsdorfer is just showing us here the instrument on North Star. The wind has gone 30 degrees. It's shifted 30-30, Jimmy.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, here we go. Both boats setting up jettilers to go upwind on a downwind leg. That just shows how big a shift. This, it's all on now, PJ. This can advantage Team New Zealand. They no longer have to do a penalty in a circle. I'm not going to go into it. It'll be too complicated to explain it. But this is very, very good for Team New Zealand right now.
So down comes the pole. And we'll get a call in a moment just how far to go to the finish. So about just over 500 metres to the finish. This is dramatic what's happening at the moment. Really dramatic. This incredible finish.
This is very close, PJ. Team New Zealand are going to be close to be able to do this. This is going to go down to the wire.
Team New Zealand are coming down, but they've got to undertake the penalty. Team New Zealand are just having their lead eroded. It's just going before their very eyes. Inside 400 metres to the finish. They've gone trawling as well. Oh, it's ticking against them down to 50 metres. Team New Zealand are off, but they've got to undertake a penalty. Jimmy will talk about that. They've got to do a 270 rather than a 360. Can you believe it? Talk about high drama.
For Team New Zealand across the finish line, they must complete a 360-degree turn, or really a tack, a 270-degree turn. Now, they have one of 2 options. If they think they've got enough lead, they'll through and do it just on the finish line. If they think they don't, they'll go down and try and set up an attacking position.
Virtual Eye, give it to Team New Zealand. That means the lead has changed 5 times in this incredible race 7. How many races of the century can we have in this regatta? Right, now coming down to the line, and Team New Zealand have got it, as they've got the breeze, that is. They've got to undertake the penalty, just over 140 metres to go. If Team New Zealand did not have the penalty, they would win it.
All down to completing the penalty, PJ.
We can see Team New Zealand's got much better here. They're doing 2-1 over Alinghi. From where we are on North Star, Alinghi is out, well, that shot was out to the left. Here goes Team New Zealand. They're going through the penalty now. They're going through their penalty. What a way to finish. Race number 7. Team New Zealand are going for it. Can they get their bow down? Can they undertake the penalty? Here goes Team New Zealand. They're coming down. Alinghi out to the left. Team New Zealand, can they accelerate? Yes! Yes, can they do it? They're getting up. We need a high shot to be able to see it. Team New Zealand coming down. Alinghi's going to get there. Alinghi have done it. Alinghi have won by 2. The 3rd of July 2007, and the America's Cup stays in Europe.